Chapter 112. On the same day, after Yamato country, the chairman of the other 5 countries all led their high-ranking officials, as well as the chairman of the other guilds who had participated in the attack, to the Huaxia server to apologize and compensate them. After receiving the compensation, the major guilds fulfilled their promise and gave the compensation to the normal players first. Regardless of whether the guild chairmen were willing or not, they knew that they had to be transparent about this matter. Otherwise, the guild would not be able to survive in the future. The players who had their equipment exposed received the compensation, and their equipment was even better than before. At this time, more people started to pay attention to the Korean server. No one from the Korean server had come to apologize, and Nameless Bro had not left yet. At 8 p.m. that day, the fog had covered the entire Immortal Mountain region, and the Korean players finally broke down. There were no monsters in the city, but the durability of their equipment was dropping just by standing in the city. Who could stand that? What do we do? We can't play anymore. Why didn't our guild chairman go and apologize? The guild chairman has already contacted Huaxia's guild chairman, but they said that Nameless Bro did not say anything, and they will not accept our apology. Fuck, what does Nameless Bro want? If this goes on, our Korean server will be finished. It turned out that the Korean server wanted to apologize, but they were rejected. In fact, Huaxia's guild did not do anything wrong. If Nameless Bro did not agree, would they accept it? Of course not. However, they could not contact Nameless Bro at all. At 10 p.m., the desperate Korean players put their equipment into the warehouse and headed to the Dark Moon Canyon. Bro Nameless, please leave the Korean server. We know our mistakes. Bro Nameless, there are many Korean players who did not participate in this event. You can't just destroy the entire Korean server, right? Bro Nameless, why do you have to punish our Korean server like this? You just don't want to accept our apology. Please let us go. Nameless Bro opened his eyes slightly and looked at the Korean players in front of him. He had been waiting for the Korean server to apologize, but it seemed that the Chinese server had rejected them. The Korean server's guild chairman appeared again. He walked up to Nameless and let out a long sigh. Mr. Nameless, this time, even if you want to kill me, I can't retreat anymore. We know we were wrong. We are willing to apologize and compensate. Please let us go. However, this time, Nameless did not make a move. You know you're wrong. Got it. Nameless nodded. There's an old saying in Huaxia, the evils we bring upon ourselves are the hardest to bear. Remember this lesson. Don't think that you can bully others just because you have some advantages. Otherwise, sooner or later, you will be bullied by others. Seeing that Nameless had relented, the chairman of the Grand Han Guild nodded his head like a rattle drum. Yes, yes, yes. We'll remember this lesson. Yes, about the compensation, you need to add an additional item. Please go ahead. The other countries didn't activate the Misty Forest, but I did. If you're only going to compensate me with some equipment like the other countries, then not only will you not lose out, you'll even profit. Nameless said, so, I'll let my people take away 4 of your celestial beasts. This. Mr. Nameless, we can increase the amount of compensation. We can double, no, triple. But the celestial beasts. Lu Qin said coldly, you're dreaming. I'm already kind enough to leave 4 of them for you. Without me activating the Misty Forest, would you have been able to find it? If the other countries entered the server, as long as I let them enter the Misty Forest, would you have been able to get the celestial beasts? Instantly, the chairman was speechless. In reality, Nameless was not only blocking the players from the Grand Han server, but also the players from the other servers. If Nameless spread the word, once the other players from the other servers entered, not only 4 of them, but even the small monsters inside would be wiped out. In this situation, they really did not have the right to bargain. Jiutian had endless opportunities, and there would be stronger items in the future. However, if they could not level up, then everything would be meaningless. Mr. Nameless, can you give us some time? After all, this isn't something that I can decide alone. Nameless did not say anything, which was a silent agreement. Half an hour later, the chairman came to Nameless again. Mr. Nameless, after our discussion, we accept your conditions. As long as you contact Huaxia, we will immediately go online to apologize and compensate. Also, you can let someone enter the misty forest and take away the 4 celestial beasts. However, please leave the other 4 for us. Nameless nodded. Get a streamer here. I'll contact Huaxia. The Grand Han server sent someone to the Huaxia server to apologize. On the other hand, Lu Qin sent a few teams to the Grand Han server. One of them was Li Muhua's Iron Blood Guild, the other was Huaxia's Southern Military Region's Red Army, Huaxia's Special Police's Black Eagle Guild, and his own Mad Waves Guild. These 4 teams immediately logged into the Grand Han server and entered the Misty Forest before the Grand Han server players. Brother Nameless, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, The leader of the Red Army, Red Wall, was so excited that he was a little nervous. Yeah, Nameless, when you called out the names, I thought my ears were damaged. The leader of the Black Shadow Guild was a tall man, and his words were a little silly. Lu Qin smiled. No need to thank me, I just randomly picked it. Ah. That's impossible, right? The highest I've ever won in the lottery is $10. How could I be so lucky? Li Muhua could not stand it anymore. You guys really believe him? Red Wall and Imperial Wind were a little confused. Red High Heels, 10 Steps, and the others could not interrupt. These teams. Who were they? Why did their leader choose them? Li Muhua could not be bothered with them. Nameless, we're not strong enough now, Li Muhua said worriedly. What if we can't defeat them? Lu Qin rolled his eyes at Li Muhua. Are you kidding? With me here, you think we can't defeat them? Ah. You're saying that you'll help us? You don't have to watch the door. Lu Qin shook his head and led the troops forward. I hope they can come in. As long as they dare to come in, I'll break the contract. Let's go. When choosing the divine beasts, Lu Qin chose 2 divine beasts and 2 ferocious beasts. This way, the Korean server would not be able to create an ultimate divine beast. In fact, he also knew that the probability of synthesizing an ultimate divine beast was too low. If all the players in a country were concentrated in a single server, even the strongest guild might not be able to obtain one, let alone all 4 divine beasts or ferocious beasts. Moreover, the higher the level of the server, the harder it was for the divine beasts to be gathered in one team. This was because everyone had the ability to fight. In short, the probability was too low. He was only doing this as a precaution. With Lu Chen's help, the 4 divine beasts were easily dealt with. The divine beasts were handed over to the 3 great armies and the vice-guild leader of Wild Waves, Leng Nua. After coming out of the misty forest, he saw that the players from the Korean server were all looking at him. Some of them were filled with hatred, some were filled with anger, some were filled with anticipation, and some were filled with despair. No matter what they thought of Nameless, at least they had learned their lesson this time. Lu Qin smiled and was finally ready to go offline. A white light flashed, and all the players from the Korean server let out a long sigh of relief when they saw the black figure blurring in the white light. The god of plagues was finally gone. The price they paid to attack Huaxia this time was simply too heavy. At that moment, a voice came from the white light. If you're not convinced, Nameless will be waiting for you when we merge. But I ask everyone to remember this. Those who offend Huaxia will be killed no matter how far away they are. Chapter 113. For the past 2 days and 1 night, Lu Qin had only slept for a total of 6 hours. After going offline from the Korean server, Lu Qin arranged for the 7 heads, the 3 idiots, and the 10 beasts to cultivate their spiritual power before going offline. Lu Qin slept all the way until dawn, and he finally felt better. It was Monday, and there were not many people in the neighborhood. Lu Chen went downstairs for breakfast, bought some groceries, and exercised for a while in the fitness area. His life returned to its usual routine. After returning home, Lu Chen opened the official website on his computer and checked the distribution of the compensation announced by the Guild Alliance. Although the Huaxia Guild was the focus and suffered the most losses, they still prioritized the compensation to the normal players. Not bad. Lu Chen nodded. This matter was satisfactorily resolved, and Lu Chen could play the game in peace. Let's look at the trading area. After this war, although many players had received compensation and even had better equipment than before, there was no guarantee that everyone would have the same equipment. There was still a huge gap in equipment. However, the Guild Alliance had issued an announcement that all the guilds under the alliance had to maintain the price at 75% of the market price for 3 days if they had equipment for sale. As long as Lu Chen did not make a move, the guilds would definitely be the main sellers. Their promise was enough to affect the market. The prices of all kinds of equipment were on the decline. Damn, they lowered the price. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Although he had expected the price to be lowered, he did not expect it to be in such a way. But the 75% discount is still okay. I can still farm in the Tiger King's cave. It's just that I won't earn as much. Although he said that he would earn less, one trip to the Tiger King dungeon would earn him 80,000 to 90,000, not to mention the Tiger Sob and Blue equipment. Lu Chen went to the Korean server for a day, but the Huaxia players could still level up normally. There were almost 1 players in the local server now. It would not take long for the Huaxia players to replenish their equipment and level up to episode 13 or 14. Then, they would be able to attempt the Tiger King dungeon and level up quickly. By then, they could sell their level 15 equipment. Okay, I'll continue to transfer money. After going online, Lu Chen did not rush to clear the Tiger King dungeon. Instead, he went to the mass grave first. Selling 2 6-star materials for 200,000 reputation points. Upgrade the army order. After this upgrade, the color of the Army Command token had changed from white to green. First promotion Army Command, Individual 433/400,000, Monster Reputation, damn, what's this? Lu Chen immediately checked the military order in his bag. First promotion Army Order, Single Soldier. You can recruit the 11th Army Subordinate. Basic attributes of all Army members increased by 25%, Army member inheritance function activated. Army members can obtain the basic attribute ratio, growth rate, attack methods, and talents of other species. Fuck. Lu Chen's eyes widened. He did not expect the Army token to have a new effect after being upgraded. Basic attribute bonuses often brought about a more comprehensive increase in combat power than equipment. Previously, Lu Chen did not upgrade Big Fool and the others to a very high star level. Now, Big Fool was at the 3-star perfection stage. In addition to the messy equipment on its body, its health points were around 3,500. After upgrading the army token, Big Fool's health points had increased to 4,500. At the same time, its attack had also increased from 153 to 163 to 174 to 184. Its physical defense had also increased from 94 to 108. With 4,500 health points at level 17, Big Fool was now stronger than the average elite monster. In addition, the activation of the army inheritance function had completely resolved Lu Chen's worries. Previously, Lu Chen did not dare to invest too many resources to nurture Big Fool and the others. He was afraid that when he had to change them in the future, all his previous investments would be wasted. Also, before he found a stronger monster, Lu Chen did not want to change them. Big Fool and the others were stupid. They would do whatever Lu Chen asked them to do. They had no emotions and did not know how to speak. However, when Lu Chen was at his loneliest, they were the only ones by Lu Chen's side. This could only be blamed on the fact that Zhou Tian was too realistic. The longer the game was played, the more people would forget that this was a game, but now, Lu Qin did not have to worry about this anymore. Although the inheritance function was not as good as Lu Chen's bloodline fusion and could not obtain the talents of two creatures at the same time, when he saw creatures with good attributes, he could use the new attributes to replace the old attributes. He did not need to change Big Fool and the others. That's great, Lu Qin said excitedly. Big Fool, now you can always follow me. The big silly jackalen looked at Lu Qin, stupidly. Okay. Since that's the case, let's catch a new headless flying corpse to help me suppress the level. With Lu Chen's current attributes, he had no problem clearing the mass graves, let alone catching one. Soon, the number of headless flying corpses had increased from 7 to 8. Okay, with 8 of them, I can still farm a few more times. Let's go, today's only mission is to clear the Tiger King's cave. At the same time, the Huaxia Guild was quickly recovering after the mass destruction. In the ESD Guild's conference room, Old Peng was holding an emergency meeting. Xiao Yao, immediately form a team and bring our people who are still in the beginners area over. They still have equipment on them, so transfer them over first. Also, there's some stock in the warehouse for the main force to equip. Also, try to train a few pharmacists. If we don't have enough materials, hire the players who have already changed their class. We'll distribute the equipment to them since they still have a good impression of us. This way, we can farm Ivanhill more. Yes, at the moment, before we have blue equipment in the Tiger King's cave, Ivanhill's protection is still very useful, said Xiao Yao. Okay, I'll form a team right away. Although Nameless taught the foreign players a lesson this time, we have seen a trend. The competition in Jiutian will only get fiercer and fiercer. If ESD wants to gain a foothold in Storm, we have to speed up our development, Xiao Yao said thoughtfully. Xiao Yao said thoughtfully, right now, there are 6 forces in China that have divine beasts, Iron Blood, Black Eagle, Red, Wild Wave, Nameless, and Mad God. Many people knew that although Nameless was the guild leader of Mad Waves, he was a leader who did not do anything. Therefore, many people separated him from Mad Waves. We're under a lot of pressure. It's hard to imagine. Nameless only has 1 divine beast, or, at most 2, and he's already so strong. Mad God has 5 of them. How strong is he? Glasses pushed the frame on his nose. I've just received news that the Korean server's 3 sages has snatched the divine beasts. They chose the divine beast's offspring, but they found out that there's no way to increase their attributes. Could it be that Nameless didn't become stronger by relying on the divine beasts? A leader asked curiously. Old Peng frowned. It's hard to say now. Maybe Nameless obtained some special technique that allowed him to establish a connection with the divine beasts. Xiao Yao nodded. That's possible. Actually, I've been wondering why Mad God didn't show up in this war. Think about it, if Mad God could obtain the power of the divine beasts, he should be stronger than Nameless. Then, killing the foreign players would be child's play. However, he didn't show up because he didn't find a way to do so. Glasses agreed. Old Peng, Xiao Yao, your guesses are the same as the Korean servers. They're now suspecting that Nameless is a spiritualist. Spiritualists are the class that can easily form a special connection with pets. Old Peng thought about it and said, these are all guesses. However, based on my observations, Nameless' fighting style doesn't seem like a spiritualist's. Spiritualists rely on their phase to fight, but he relies on himself. Xiao Yao sighed. I really can't guess Nameless' class. However, there's one thing that's for sure. This time, many countries have compensated us with a large amount of materials. This means that our Jiutian server has truly entered a new era of distinct classes. Old Peng nodded and said, there are endless opportunities in Jiutian. Everyone, don't be depressed because you didn't get a divine beast. In this new era, we have to catch up. Chapter 114. In 12 hours, Lu Qin had killed Tiger King 9 times, and 8 of them were at max level. Even he himself was only a step away from leveling up. After 9 dungeons, Lu Qin had sold a total of 830,000 reputation points for materials and equipment. Recruiting another subordinate requires 400,000 reputation points. Fuck, that's expensive. Lu Qin grumbled. Logically speaking, if he recruited a new subordinate, he could continue to farm. However, due to the high leveling requirement of the army token and the current market price, many guilds had tried to enter the Tiger King's cave, so Lu Qin gave up. I can't possibly not level up. Forget it, I'll sell the equipment and change locations. Only with a level advantage could he earn endless money. Lu Qin knew this very well. Now, the external server already had the Shadow Tempest jacket and Dark Iron Nether Gold sword for sale. The jacket's price was about 18,000 renminbi. The Nether Gold sword's drop rate was relatively high, and it was dropped during the normal dungeon stage. Therefore, although it was a weapon with good attributes, it was not as expensive as the jacket, priced at 11,000 renminbi. Of course, this was the external server. As their level increased, the price would naturally decrease. The initial price would definitely be more than that. Lu Qin had considered this point, which was why he had decided to sell the equipment at the right time. When the other guilds really managed to get the equipment, the price would probably drop again. 42 Nether Gold swords, 27 Shadow Tempest jackets, 26 Dark Frost cloaks, 24 Night pants. Oh, right, the Dark Frost cloak has a special effect that requires 2 other pieces of equipment to be equipped at the same time. I should sell them one by one, that way I can get a higher price. There's also Tiger Tears, 25 of them. I'm not sure about the price. There's also Tiger's Blood and Tiger's Head. Iron Blood seems to want to buy them. I'll leave 2 for them. How much are they selling for? Pricing was really a headache, and Lu Qin finally shook his hands and didn't do it. Fuck, my head hurts. Forget it. 10 reputation points it is. I'll apply for a personal auction. Lu Qin opened his mailbox. Without a doubt, the people who had bought from Frenzied Waves must have sent him a lot of emails. Lu Qin sent a group email in the name of Frenzied Waves. At 8 p.m., Frenzied Waves would hold an auction. This news was even more shocking than Mad God's auction. Brother Nameless is holding an auction? Is he going to use Tiger Sob? He does indeed have other Tiger's Tears. Speaking of Tiger's Tears, TSK, those attributes are really tempting. Actually, I'm more interested in Bro Nameless' cape and pants. Only Bro Nameless has these 2 items, but he has never displayed their attributes. At 7:30 p.m., the auction room of the Quang Lang auction house was already packed with people. The number of people who received their number exceeded 8,000. Fortunately, it was a virtual room, so it could fit as many people as it wanted. At 8:00, Nameless entered the room and his voice rang out. Thank you all for coming. Since everyone is busy leveling up, let's not waste any more time and get to the point. Let me explain. This time, I'm mainly selling the 3 pieces of Tiger King defensive equipment, the Dark Gold Sword and Tiger Weep, as well as the blue and purple materials. Let's start with the Dark Gold Sword. 3 swords for 1 auction. The starting bid is 20,000 yuan, with a minimum increment of 1,000 yuan. Everyone had seen the Dark Gold Sword before. The 3 bosses in the Tiger King's cave all had a chance to drop it, and the drop rate was pretty good. If they waited a few more days, they might even be able to farm it themselves. But it was just that none of the big guilds had been allocated the Dark Gold Sword yet. Coupled with the loss of equipment, it was very strategic to get the Dark Gold Sword in advance. As soon as Lu Qin made his bid, there were people competing below. Number 4337, bid. Lu Qin checked the information given to him by the backstage. 30,000 yuan. This number 4337 was also a tough one. He directly raised the starting bid by 10,000. He didn't follow Lu Chen's request at all. Number 591, 40,000 yuan. Someone else made a bid. Number 8112, 45,000 yuan. Number 10341, 47,000 yuan. When the price reached around 50,000 yuan, the speed started to slow down. 49000500054000. Okay, number 694, sold for 54,000 yuan. Lu Chen didn't expect this price. Before, his equipment was easy to sell, but there was a very important factor. Players didn't know where to farm. However, the dark gold sword was different. Everyone knew that this sword came from the Tiger King's cave. Moreover, players might be able to farm it soon. In the end, it was sold for 18,000 yuan, which was quite good. After that, the 13 sets of dark gold swords were sold for around 50,000 yuan. They were quickly sold out. Below were the Tiger King's 3 pieces of defensive equipment. Because Lu Chen didn't complete the first 2 dungeons, and there was one time when he quit the dungeon, the number of pieces in the 3 sets was different. Lu Chen planned to sell the extra pieces first. Next is the Shadow Tempest jacket. Lu Chen showed the attributes of the jacket. This time, all 3 will be sold together. The starting bid is 40,000 yuan, and each raise is 2,000 yuan. The price of the outer server was 18,000. In this auction, the price quickly broke through 60,000 yuan. In the end, it was sold for 81,000 yuan. The unit price was 27,000 yuan. This price was barely satisfactory. Next is the Dark Frost Cloak. I'm selling 2 pieces this time. Let's show the attributes first. The originally calm auction finally became different at this moment. The Dark Frost Cloak had never appeared in the outer server. Powerful outer servers like the Korean server and the Kimono server had never appeared in the outer server. Why? Because it was dropped by the second hidden boss. If Nameless didn't have it, many people wouldn't even know that there was a second hidden boss in the Tiger King's cave. The Shadow Tempest jacket was also very difficult to obtain. However, it was sold for 27,000 yuan in the end. No matter how difficult it was to obtain, it had appeared before. As for the Dark Frost Cloak, other than Nameless, no one in the entire server knew its attributes. At this moment, the audience watching the live broadcast of the auction began to stir. Look at the special effect of the cloak, Frozen Roar. Damn, so Nameless' skill is from this cloak. It's super overpowered. It can freeze all enemies within a 25-meter radius. And it can be controlled for a very long time. Damn, the items dropped by the second hidden boss are indeed different. This skill is very useful in clearing the field. No, look carefully. That's a special effect. You have to equip all 3 pieces of the Tiger King set at the same time to reach 25 meters. Normally, it's 15 meters. 15 meters is also very big. I bet that the guilds will go crazy when they see this equipment. Lu Chen naturally didn't have time to watch the live broadcast. The auction before this was too smooth. Lu Chen didn't feel anything. He was only focused on selling the blue equipment. Starting bid, 40,000 yuan. Increment of 2,000 yuan per bid. Let's begin. After Lu Chen finished speaking, he waited for the backstage message. Soon, the message came. The system selected the fastest bidder. When he saw the bid, Lu Chen was stunned. Number 2883, 80,000. Lu Chen frowned. Did this guy see wrongly? He was selling 2 pieces this time. Pay attention. This time, I'm selling 2 pieces, not 3. Don't make a mistake in the price. Lu Chen repeated. When doing business, he had to be honest. He couldn't just sell 1 piece and run away. He still had to make things clear. Beep, 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 beep. Lu Chen's backstage message kept popping up. Lu Chen frowned and opened the message. Number 04, 90,000. Did this bunch of people not hear what he said just now? Chapter 115. Lu Chen's explanation did not stop the buyers. In the end, the Dark Frost cloak was sold at a price of 50,000 yuan. Although both were blue equipment, the price of the Dark Frost cloak was almost twice that of the Dark Shadow Tempest coat. It was also from the Dark Frost cloak that the auction reached its climax. Everyone has seen the special effects of the Dark Frost cloak. Next, I will sell it according to the set. Dark Shadow Tempest plus Dark Frost, plus Dark Night Pants, 3 pieces for a set. Lu Chen displayed the 3 pieces of equipment on the public screen. When the 3 pieces of the Tiger King set were displayed together, people had a more direct understanding of the powerful attributes of the 3 pieces of the Tiger King set. A total of 71 physical defense and 24 spiritual defense. 3-dimensional 84 strength, 112 dexterity, 82 physique, and basic attributes provided 84 attack, 42 physical defense, and 1640 health. In addition, there were 4 special effects skills, Wind Blast, Night Demon, Frozen Roar, and Blue Flame True Fire. Damn, 1 piece and 3 pieces are completely different concepts. Some players sighed. The 3 pieces of the Tiger King set add 113 physical defense, 24 spiritual defense, and 1600 health. With these 3 pieces, the guild's tank is a must-have. The 3 pieces of the Tiger King set are really comprehensive. Attack, defense, and health are all improved. It's definitely a qualitative change. No wonder Brother Nameless is so ruthless. Think about it, the 3 pieces of the Tiger King set plus Tiger Sob, how crazy are the attributes? Without a doubt, the 3 pieces of the Tiger King set were the best defensive equipment at the moment. Moreover, only the Dark Shadow Tempest coat could be obtained. With the current team, it was difficult to meet the requirements to activate the hidden boss with the other 2 pieces. Unless, they obtained the 3 pieces of the Tiger King set and Tiger Sob in advance. Therefore, when Lu Chen sold the 3 pieces of the Tiger King set, the auction went crazy. 100,000, 110,000, 130,000. 170,000. The first set of the Tiger King set was sold for 170,000. According to the previous price, the price of the Dark Night Pants was almost 100,000. Lu Chen had a total of 24 sets, and all of them were sold for no less than 150,000. Looking at the transaction records, Lu Chen was nervous. Damn, how much is it going to cost today? Lu Chen did not dare to think too much. There was still a lot coming up. Next is Tiger Sob. After Tiger Weep appeared on the public chat, countless players clicked on it to check it out. Even though Lu Chen had once displayed Tiger Weep's attributes, it did not stop people from repeatedly checking it. The 74 to 86 attack far surpassed the Dark Steel Golden Sword of the same level. The 3 dimensions had 56 strength, 68 dexterity, and 64 constitution, which was only slightly less than the Tiger King's 3 pieces. It was simply ruthless. Of course, Tiger Weep's strongest point was its additional attributes. Plus 22 critical hit chance, plus 160% critical damage. Once a critical hit, the damage would be off the charts. Fierce Tiger descends the mountain, 3 attacks will become a combo attack. The combo attack will deal 80% damage. Tiger's Roar converts the next 3 attacks into spiritual energy attacks. Fuck, Tiger Sob is indeed a purple equipment. Its attributes and special effects are too overpowered. I really want it, but I can't afford it. Don't underestimate Tiger's Roar. Even if you equip the Tiger King set equipment, you only have 24 spiritual defense. If you convert all of your attack power into spiritual attacks, the opponent will take almost all of the damage. Spiritual defense is low now. Even the boss doesn't have any spiritual defense. Tiger's Roar is indeed overpowered. It's not inferior to Fierce Tiger descends the mountain at all. You didn't get to the point. The point is, Tiger Weep is too damn cool. Purple dual swords. Just the moment the swords are drawn, it's so cool. It's simply a weapon for showing off. As expected, Tiger Weep became the focus of all the major guilds. Lu Chen set the starting price at 50,000, but the first buyer raised it to 120,000. 150,000, 170,000, 200,000. 220,000. The first Tiger Weep was sold for 220,000. All 24 Tiger Weeps in Lu Chen's hands were sold. Lu Chen couldn't calculate how much money he had in his bank account. After the equipment was sold, Lu Chen sold the tiger's blood and tiger's head. These two materials were needed to level up his profession. The price wasn't low either. The tiger's blood was roughly priced at 3,000, and Lu Chen sold 60 of them. The tiger's head was priced at around 10,000, and Lu Chen sold 20 of them. The auction didn't end until 11 at night. Lu Chen didn't care about how many people were happy or sad about the auction. He went offline as soon as the auction ended. The first thing Lu Chen did after going offline was to check all the transaction records and verify the accounts. With so much money, Lu Chen took out his mobile phone to calculate his income: 770,000 for the dark gold sword, 54,000, another 100,000, 8 million for the 3 Tiger King items, 4 million for Tiger Weep, and 390,000 for the materials, a total of 75 million. No, I sold 800,000 materials during the day, and with this 800,000. Lu Chen's eyes widened. He slowly raised his head in disbelief. I've earned 10 million. He checked the bank accounts. Lu Chen had a total of 14 million in his 2 bank accounts. What the fuck? I've earned a lot. When Lu Chen first entered Jiutian, he thought that he could earn 3,000 to 4,000 a month. It was better than working. Plus, his sister earned more than 2,000 a month. The siblings could survive if they were frugal. But who would have thought that in less than a month, Lu Chen had already earned 10 million. 10 million in assets. In a small city like Jiangcheng, he should be considered rich. At this moment, Lu Chen suddenly felt relieved. Back then, he and his sister ate buns under the eaves, picked up food from the trash cans, and expired food from the supermarket. He said that he would take good care of Lu Yi, but he never did. But today, he finally did it. Even if he didn't earn money in the future, this money was enough for him and his sister to live well. The silly girl was still working overtime every day. She had been working very hard. She said that she wanted to earn money for her brother's marriage. So now, only a small number of people didn't know about Brother Nameless, including that silly girl. She didn't have time to care about other things. She had to hurry up and level up so that she could enter the main force of the guild and earn more money. Others repeatedly looked at the insane stats of Tiger Weep, but Lu Chen only wanted to look at the balance in his bank account. Silly girl, we won't be poor in the future. Jiangqing Sunshine Garden. There was still more than half a month before the small high-rise buildings were officially put up for sale. However, the villas were already on sale. The villas in Sunshine Garden weren't cheap. The hardcover villas cost 4 to 5 million. The sales weren't very good. On this day, some older people were leisurely looking at the properties in the sales office. The experienced sales lady couldn't be bothered with these customers. Instead, a very young girl was trying her best to promote. Sir, let me introduce you. Little girl, it's not open yet, right? I'm just looking. Go do your work. It's okay, sir. It's my job to introduce you. A few sales ladies sat at the side. One of them, a woman with heavy makeup, snorted in disdain. She's arrogant just because she's a little pretty. She offended the manager and was sent to buy a villa. Sister Lu, I heard that the manager wanted to sleep with her. Is it true? Who knows? Anyway, I only know that if she can't sell the house, she'll be fired. At this moment, a young man came in from the door. He was wearing a baseball cap. The brim of the cap was very low, so his face couldn't be seen clearly. He was dressed very plainly. There wasn't a single brand of clothing on him. Another poor guy. Look at that girl. She'll definitely be introducing him again. Idiot. As soon as the young man entered the sales office, Xiao Wei came up to him. Hello, are you looking at a house? Let's take a look first. Can you recommend one for me? Are you looking for a small high-rise or a high-rise? I'm looking at a villa, the young man said calmly. Chapter 116. Lu Chen felt a little strange. Why did this sales lady look a little familiar? He raised his head and looked at the sales lady strangely. He was stunned when he took a closer look. The woman in front of him was eye-catching even among the sales ladies who had high standards for looks. Wasn't this Su Xiaowei? Su Xiaowei was Lu Chen's junior high school classmate and the daughter of their class teacher. At that time, Lu Chen and his sister were poor, but their class teacher, Su Ming, insisted on letting Lu Chen finish junior high school. Su Ming wasn't rich, but he still often sponsored the siblings. At that time, Su Xiaowei was already a beauty. When he was in junior high school, he had his first awakening of love. Lu Chen also secretly admired Su Xiaowei, but considering his situation, he never mentioned it to Su Xiaowei for 3 years. He didn't expect Su Xiaowei to be a sales lady, he didn't know if Su Xiaowei still recognized him. Lu Chen didn't want the people around to recognize him, so he didn't directly call out her name. Can you take me to see the house first? Okay, do you have a car? Can I go with your car? No. Su Xiaowei was stunned. He bought a villa, but he didn't have a car. Maybe he didn't drive it here. Well, the villa area is a long walk. If you don't mind, you can take my battery-powered car. Okay. With a pft, a few sales ladies who were looking at them couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of tea. Take a battery-powered car to see the villa. The villa there costs at least 5 million. Be careful that the security won't let you in. Su Xiaowei's face was a little ugly. Now, to her, she had to grasp every opportunity. Those people mocked and ridiculed her, and she might drive the customer away. She pulled Lu Chen out of the sales hall first. Sorry, I'll take you there. The security won't stop me. Lu Chen smiled. Su Xiaowei, you really don't recognize me? The experience of looking at the house was very pleasant. After returning, Lu Chen asked Su Xiaowei to get the contract directly. Xiaowei, ask the manager to come over personally. Lu Chen sat in the signing room. When he was looking at the house, he already knew about Xiaowei's matter. He could ignore other people's matters, but he couldn't ignore Su Xiaowei's matters. Lu Chen, forget it. That guy has someone up there. I plan to quit at the end of this month. I just want to get another client. At least I can prove that I quit on my own accord and not because I was fired by him. Lu Chen snorted coldly. Why are you the one who should leave? The one who should get lost was him. Don't worry, I'll handle this. Su Xiaowei hesitated for a moment until she saw Lu Chen's firm expression, then she nodded and left. Not long after, the manager, Huang Luyong, came. Not only did Huang Luyong come, but many sales ladies also came after hearing that Su Xiaowei had made a big order. Hello, sir. Sorry to keep you waiting. This is your contract. Lu Chen did not look at the contract. He leaned back in his chair and went straight to the point. Su Xiaowei is my friend. What do you think we should do about this? Huang Luyong frowned and turned to look at Su Xiaowei. If this client was Su Xiaowei's friend, then he knew what the client was referring to. He had tried to coerce Su Xiaowei more than once, but this woman had always refused to agree. Presumably, this person was talking about this matter. it seems that you're not here to buy a house. Huang Luyong changed his previous flattering attitude and stood up straight. You're Su Xiaowei's boyfriend? Young man, you're quite arrogant. Unfortunately, you don't know whose territory this is. I'm just wondering why you don't even dare to show your face. You're not a wanted criminal, are you? Several security guards suddenly rushed in from outside and surrounded Lu Chen. Manager Huang, this kid is definitely not here to buy a house. Sister Lu said excitedly. Just now, Su Xiaowei said that she would take him to see a house. Then, this kid didn't even have a car. When I saw them riding an electric scooter, they were very intimate. Lu Chen frowned. Intimate when riding an electric scooter? No, he was just sitting in the back seat of Su Xiaowei's electric scooter. Perhaps the scooter was too small and the two of them were close to each other. Some parts of their bodies touched, but it was definitely not intentional. This was the second time he was surrounded by a group of security guards. Lu Chen was almost experienced. He did not panic at all. He took out a card from his trouser pocket and threw it on the table. Do you recognize this card? Huang Luyong picked up the card in confusion. On the golden card was written, Diamond Level User of Zhongchen Group. Lu Chen was right. Huang Luyong did not recognize this card. He was a sales manager of one of the many buildings in Jiangcheng. He had never heard that Zhongchen Group had a Diamond Level User. Fortunately, this guy was not too stupid. Even if he did not know, he still knew to check it out. He called the new regional manager. Boss, sorry to bother you. I'm Little Wang from Sunshine Residential Area. Wang Luyong's face-changing speed was comparable to magic. He was quite skilled at changing his face twice. Boss, have you heard that Zhongchen Group has a Diamond Level User card? On the other end of the phone, the other party looked very impatient at first. However, after hearing Wang Luyong mention a Diamond Level User, his voice suddenly rose by 80 degrees. What? A Diamond Level User of Zhongchen Group? At your place? My God, who is it? No, don't care who it is. No one with this card is simple. You stay calm. You must treat him well. There can't be any mistakes. I'll be right there. After putting down the phone, Wang Luyong, who was good at changing his face, was suddenly stunned. This time, he could not change his face. His boss's tone was enough to explain what this card represented. As soon as he saw the card, the regional manager came in person. The person with this card was definitely a big shot. At this time, Wang Luyong's hands suddenly trembled. He looked at the sloppy young man in front of him and felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. Sir, your card. Wang Luyong held the card with both hands and walked to Lu Chen. He bowed 90 degrees and handed the card to him respectfully. Lu Chen snorted and took the card back. Wang Luyong's heart was in a mess. He turned his head and saw the security guards around him. He hurriedly shouted, "Who let you in? Get out!" The group of security guards were also confused. They gloomily left the room. At this time, Su Xiaowei stared at Lu Chen with her eyes wide open. Her brain short-circuited. Was this still the boy in her memory who had a low self-esteem? Was he still the desk mate who only ate half a steamed bun for lunch every day? Wang Luyong looked at Lu Chen, who was now as obedient as a grandson. Just because of a card. Sister Lu, who always liked to talk, turned pale. What kind of big shot was this poor guy that even the regional manager was scared to this extent? Then she. Thinking of this, she hurriedly turned around to leave. I'll ask you one last time. How do you want to solve this matter? Lu Chen silently looked at the trembling Wang Luyong. This, sir, what do you mean? Lu Chen was not angry. Well, since you said so, then I'll take it that you don't want to solve it. Then I'll solve it. No, sir. I really didn't know that Su Xiaowei was your friend. If I had known, I wouldn't have dared to do anything to her even if you lent me 10,000 guts. Lu Chen coldly snorted, yes, that's the problem. If I wasn't Su Xiaowei's friend, you can do whatever you want. At this time, the regional manager of Zhongqing Jiangqing hurriedly arrived. As soon as he came in, he saw Lu Chen. At first, he was stunned, but when he saw the golden card, all his hair stood on end. If those who had the Zhongqing Group's diamond user card were all big shots, then this person was definitely a big shot among big shots. Moreover, he was the most difficult one to deal with. Why did he take over as the regional manager of Jiangqing City? How could he not have investigated the mistakes of his predecessor? This card was personally issued by Boss Lu of Huadong District. Boss Lu once told him that if he saw the owner of this golden diamond card, he absolutely could not provoke him. That's right, Boss Lu said absolutely 3 times. Chapter 117. The regional manager of Jiangqing arrived and the matter was resolved in less than 3 minutes. Wang Luyong was fired and handed over to the police for pursuing the crime of molesting a woman. Although he did not force Su Xiaowei to submit, such people had a criminal record. If they really investigated, he would not have a good ending. In addition, Su Xiaowei was promoted to the deputy sales manager of the Jiangqing branch of Zhongqing Corporation. She was assigned to Sunshine Real Estate and was responsible for the sales work here. What deputy manager? It was just a temporary position. Su Xiaowei would probably be promoted in the future. Sir, if you're free tonight, would you do me the honor of having dinner with me? The regional manager, Yi Ji, said respectfully. I didn't expect that we would cause you trouble again. Lu Chen smiled and said, forget about it this time. Maybe next time. Seeing that the owner did not intend to pursue the matter, Yi Ji let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, he arrived in time. Otherwise, the newly promoted regional manager would be gone. After sending Lu Chen off, Yi Ji let out a long sigh of relief. Lu Chen was about to take the bus home when Su Xiaowei chased after him. Blockhead. Lu Chen turned around and smiled at Su Xiaowei. This girl still remembered the nickname she gave him in the past. I'll give you a ride, if you don't mind my little electric stove. Su Xiaowei's smile reminded Lu Chen of the bright, lively, and beautiful girl from the past. Can you leave for work? The big manager asked me to give you a ride. Su Xiaowei winked at Lu Chen. Let's go. The streets were busy. Lu Chen sat behind Su Xiaowei's small scooter. Su Xiaowei's long hair occasionally brushed past his face. It was itchy. How's Teacher Su? My dad's health hasn't been very good these few years. What's wrong? Lu Chen asked. Teacher Su used to treat him so well. His heart ached when he heard the news. It's nothing. It's an old illness. Su Xiaowei said softly. She did not seem to want to talk about her father. Oh right, thank you for today. It's nothing. There's no need to thank me. Perhaps it was because they had been separated for too long, the two chatted casually. Until he sent Lu Chen to the outskirts of Happiness District. Alright, let's stop here. You should go back too. You've just been promoted, so you should set an example. Well, thank you anyway. It's just that I'm not used to the sudden promotion. After all, I didn't fight for it. Lu Chen smiled. Connections are also a form of strength. We didn't have them in the past, but now that we do, we should make good use of them. What's more, I believe that you're a capable person. Oh, by the way, fire the salesperson who likes to gossip. Just say that I said it. You don't have to be soft-hearted to such people. Okay, got it. Let's go back. After Lu Chen finished speaking, he turned around and prepared to leave. Lu Chen. Su Xiaowei suddenly called out to Lu Chen. Well, oh, right, do you play Jiutian? Lu Chen frowned slightly. Yes. Then let's play together when we have time, okay? Lu Qin smiled. Was this an invitation? When the time comes. By the way, I've left my phone number with you. Call me if you need anything. He had to admit that when he saw Su Xiaowei today, Lu Qin was still stunned. He didn't expect Su Xiaowei to be even prettier after a few years. However, the two of them were estranged after all, so their conversation was a little unnatural. Speaking of which, the house was finally bought. It cost 5.47 million, and after the discount, he only spent 3.83 million. This feeling was great. With a load off his mind, Lu Qin was in a good mood and logged into the game. After going out for an entire morning, the 10 beasts' spiritual energy increased by 600 to 700 points, 100,000 points of pure spiritual energy. I wonder how long it will take to raise them. Lu Qin shook his head. Everyone wanted a mythical beast, but who knew how hard it was to raise a mythical beast? He even raised 10 of them in one go. 3 idiots, stop cultivating. We'll run to a new map today. Lu Qin ordered and recalled his subordinates and beasts. After selling all the equipment in the Tiger King's cave yesterday, Hua Xia's team was exploring the Tiger King's cave today. He believed that it wouldn't be long before they started farming again. They might even farm a second boss. I haven't leveled up for a few days. I still have to level up. Lu Qin headed straight for the mass graves this time. I'll also look for those soul essences, ancient hearts, and so on. He was now level 17, and the attributes of the army members had also increased by a lot. There was no pressure in farming the mass graves anymore. Dead without a complete corpse, unable to sleep after returning to a foreign land. After taking a look at the stone tablet, Lu Qin entered the mass graves directly. There was one advantage to the mass graves. There was no need to look for monsters. The monsters would come to them. After Lu Qin and the 3 idiots entered the mass graves, 30 to 40 mounds of dirt protruded from the ground around them. Then, headless flying corpses flew out. The headless flying corpses were also long-range attacks and had a catapult effect. When the two armies met, the scene was extremely exciting. Countless heads bounced back and forth between the group of people, making it impossible to distinguish whose heads belonged to whom. Fuck, catapult is so annoying. They're also long-range attacks. Forget it, let's farm 1,000 first. 2.5 hours later, Lu Qin finally farmed 1,000 headless flying corpses. In the reputation shop, the bloodline of the headless flying corpse, undead bloodline, and the skin of the headless flying corpse appeared. Fuck, should I change my attack method? Lu Qin was a little conflicted. This thing was really ugly, but its attack method was really enviable. If Lu Qin used catapult and combo, he would be able to farm the monsters like flying. However, when he thought about how he had thrown his own head out time and time again, Lu Qin felt terrified. After hesitating for a long time, Lu Qin decided to go and see if there were any other monsters. If there were better AoE monsters, he would definitely not choose the headless flying corpse. As he farmed, he walked forward. Not long after, Lu Qin saw a huge stone door appear in the distance. This stone door was quite strange. In the empty graveyard, there was only one door standing there. It was about 10 meters tall and 5 to 6 meters wide. It gave people the feeling that it was more like a tombstone than a stone door. Why is there a player there? Lu Qin had extraordinary eyesight and quickly found a little girl sitting in the corner of the stone door. A player could walk here from the mass grave. And it was a little girl. Lu Qin decided to take a look. He put away the 8-headed 3 dumb and walked over. The little girl sat in the corner of the stone door with her head lowered. Her face could not be seen clearly. When Lu Qin walked in front of her, she suddenly opened her mouth. The moment she opened her mouth, Lu Qin was shocked. "I'm so pitiful," the girl said as she raised her head. That was definitely not the face of a little girl. More accurately, it was not even a human face. The skin was shriveled and dark, the eye sockets were sunken, and the mouth was full of wrinkles. It was a little girl's mummy. Fuck, Tianxing really wants to die. He made an NPC out of nowhere and made it look so real. It's so scary. Lu Chen took a few steps back. I beg you, please save me. The girl's mummy looked at Lu Chen with her empty eye sockets, and Lu Chen felt goosebumps all over his body. However, Lu Chen still tried to make himself understand that this was just a game. Lu Chen was still far away. Do you have a quest? Can I take it? I do have a quest, but my quest can only be completed by myself. A quest appeared in front of Lu Chen. Quest, Cleansing Nightmare Spirits, Level 22 Elite Quest. Lu Chen did not look at the quest, but the reward at the end of the quest stunned Lu Chen. Quest Reward, Primordial Heart *1, First Clear Reward, Dungeon Source, Solo, player can create a solo dungeon. Chapter 118. I finally found the Primordial Heart. Lu Chen had been stuck on the Primordial Heart and Primordial Fragment for a long time. But this instance dungeon source is quite interesting. Can players design their own instance dungeons? Lu Chen looked at the instance dungeon source's introduction curiously. That seemed to be what it meant. Jiutian is indeed different from other games. It actually allows players to build their own instance dungeons. Interesting. However, there was an additional requirement for the instance dungeon source's reward. It had to be the first clear of the entire server. Just now, the NPC said that only I can enter the instance dungeon. Does it know that I have an army to help me? I'll go in and take a look. Since the Primordial Heart had appeared, Lu Chen had no reason not to go in and try. Mission, Clear the Nightmare Spirits. Mission description, when people die, they become ghosts, and when ghosts die, they become nightmare spirits. We were originally pitiful people who were buried here. If no one attacked us, we would not attack anyone. That was until the nightmare spirit appeared. Every day, it preys on our souls to nourish that terrifying fellow. If that fellow revives, you and I will be reduced to ashes. Mission details, please help the remnant soul Xiao Min to clear a sufficient number of nightmare spirits. Clear 500 nightmare spirits behind this door. Nourish that terrifying fellow. Seeing this, with Lu Chen's sharp observation, he seemed to have smelled the scent of a follow-up mission. No matter what, for the sake of the mission reward, he had to accept it. After accepting the mission, Lu Chen stepped through the stone door. On the other side of the stone door was not the instance dungeon but another map. As soon as he entered the stone door, Lu Chen felt that it was gloomy. Everywhere was dark, and a cold wind blew past from time to time. Not far away, two transparent souls were floating. That should be the nightmare spirit, right? They're both level 22 elites. Jiutian's elite missions are indeed overpowered. Lu Chen pulled out Tiger Weep and walked over. When the light saw someone approaching, it quickly floated over. I should really give Jiutian advice. Can they not be so serious about such things? Lu Chen swung his sword, immune, immune, immune. 6 immune, all of Lu Chen's combo and poison were immune. Fuck. What the hell? At the same time, the two nightmare spirits pounced on Lu Chen. -883, spiritual attack, -883, spiritual attack. The two nightmare spirits dealt close to 1,800 damage. Lu Chen's HP immediately fell by a large chunk. Damn, these guys are all spiritual attackers. Lu Chen's current equipment was the strongest at the moment. It had a massive amount of physical defense, but it was completely useless against spiritual attacks. To the Bai Lin, only the Tiger King's 3 pieces of equipment with a measly 24 points of spiritual defense was effective. Since the Bai Lin's spiritual attack had reached 800 to 900 points, the 24 points of spiritual defense were almost negligible. It was as if Lu Chen had taken all the damage. Most importantly, these guys were immune to physical and poison attacks. Lu Chen couldn't hit them. Motherfucker, what the hell is this? Fierce tiger descends the mountain. Tiger's roar. Lu Chen hurriedly activated Tiger Weep special effect, converting all physical attacks into spiritual attacks. -545, immune, poisoned, -1008, critical hit, immune, poisoned, -1041, critical hit, -521. All of the poison attacks were still immune, but after Lu Chen's physical attacks were converted into spiritual attacks, all of them dealt damage. The Nightmare Spirit's attack was very high, but its HP was very low. The level 22 Elite Nightmare Spirit only had 4000 HP. After being hit by Lu Chen's 4-hit combo, it only had less than a quarter of its HP left. Lu Chen's 3 attacks finally killed the 2 Nightmare Spirits. Killed Nightmare Spirit, level 22 Elite. Captured 1570 aura points. Obtained 1 tier 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 5-star quality point. Obtained 1 chaos type creature's soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. Killed Nightmare Spirit, level 22 Elite. Captured 1570 aura points. Obtained 1 tier 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 chaos type creature's soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. Chaos type creature's soul essence. Lu Chen suddenly remembered that this was what chaos needed to grow. Ha ha ha, I finally found it. So it's to fight these things. Oh right, the drop rate of pure aura here is so high. I only killed 2 and 2 dropped. I don't know if it's because of good luck or because the drop rate is high to begin with. Lu Chen activated the quest tracking function. At this time, the quest completion progress was 2/500, proving that he did not fight the wrong monster. After killing the 2 Nightmare Spirits, Lu Chen was quite excited. The 2 things he was looking for could be obtained from this dungeon. However, there was also a problem. These things only eat spiritual attacks, and I have to use Tiger's Roar to convert physical attacks into spiritual attacks. In other words, I can only effectively supply it 3 times every 60 seconds. The efficiency is too low. The 3 idiots could not help him at this time. They were all physical attacks, so they were immune to attacks. Moreover, the quest said that it had to be completed by a single person. The easiest way to determine if it was completed by a single person was to look at the source of the damage. If it was not done by a single person, then killing it might be a waste of effort. There's no other way. I can only kill them by force. It's best to use Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain together with Tiger's Roar to ensure that I can kill 2 at the same time. That's 2 minutes to kill 2. It will take 500 minutes to complete the quest. Plus looking for monsters, it might take 10 hours. There was no shortcut, so Lu Chen could only kill them by force. These Nightmare Spirits were in groups of 2. Lu Chen took advantage of the cooldown period of the special effect to find the monsters first. When the cooldown period of Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain was over, he would immediately kill them. After killing a few groups, Lu Chen was certain that these Nightmare Spirits would drop chaotic creature soul essences and pure aura. 2 minutes and 2 points of pure aura. I'll just treat it as cultivating my spiritual power. Besides, there's also experience and materials. It's not a loss. This farming lasted until 10:00 in the evening. Lu Chen finally completed the quest. Running to the gate, Lu Chen submitted the quest. Obtained Ancient Heart *1, obtained Dungeon Source *1, Lu Chen immediately checked the Ancient Heart. Passed down from an ancient creature's heart fossil. It's a treasure that can turn something rotten into something magical. Lu Chen hurriedly opened the attribute panel. The Ancient Heart was already available for the upgrade materials after the star level. As for the 5-star materials, Lu Chen had already obtained enough in the Misty Forest and the Tiger King's cave. Damn, I can finally upgrade. Upgrade star level. Your skin can't withstand the upgrade energy. Please remove your human skin. Oh. Lu Chen removed his human skin. A terrifying creature quietly swelled from behind the human skin and revealed its original appearance. Damn, it makes me look like a painted ghost. Speaking of which, Lu Chen had previously integrated the Tiger Demon bloodline, and the results were now displayed. Simply put, it was a change of head. Tiger head, wooden horns, the upper body of a jackalen, the lower body of a spider, and a green snake tail. Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. He was still afraid when he saw the nightmare spirits. In this game, was there any creature more terrifying than them? The little female ghost NPC at the side was scared to tears. Chapter 119. When he left the Tiger King's cave, Lu Chen was almost level 17. Now that he had killed 1,000 headless flying corpses and 500 nightmare spirits, he was already level 18. Role-bound, Lu Chen, character, Brave Tiger and Dragon Might, Dark Moon Vanguard, Top Dog, Tiger Capturer, Elite, Extremely Strong, Extremely Agile, Extremely Muscular Null Leader, Bronze Boss, Black Barton. Damn. It's almost 5 meters long. Lu Chen looked at the name above his head that was longer than his body and fell into deep thought. Rarity, 5-star, Stage 1 increase in 3 dimensions by 500%, 0/320, 5-star quality, 0 to 1, Primordial Heart, level, 18, upgrade progress, 107760/550000, physical strength, 426, basic 204 plus equipment 181 plus title 41, agility, 424, basic 204 plus equipment 220, physique, 421, basic 204 plus equipment 197 plus title 20, spiritual power intensity, spiritual power, 10, spiritual core 10, 224/1000, pure spiritual energy, attack, physical attack, 557 to 573 poison attack, 10 defense, physical defense. 325, basic 102 plus equipment 223 plus title 20, spiritual defense, 24 health points, 10796, basic 5380 plus equipment 3940 plus title 1476. After increasing his health points, Lu Chen's initial poison damage had reached 334. Other than the basic attributes, Lu Chen now had the inferior werewolf bloodline, inferior venomous spider bloodline, inferior snake bloodline, inferior succubus bloodline, and inferior tiger bloodline. All 5 bloodlines were stage 4. The army recruitment order was now upgraded to first transition solo. I'm almost moved to tears by my own diligence. Lu Chen touched his conscience with his claws. Right, there's also the instance dungeon source. Let's see what it is. Lu Chen immediately opened his backpack to check. The instance dungeon source's appearance was a ball of black fog. The fog was like a dancing flame as if it was alive. Instance dungeon source, gather 5 to create a solo instance dungeon. Damn. Gather 5 to create one. Why didn't you say this before? What a scam. Lu Chen said angrily. But then again, this item was considered a bonus. Even without this reward, Lu Chen would definitely accept this mission for the sake of the ancient blood. Forget it, forget it. Let's see if there are any follow-up quests. Lu Chen turned around. The little ghost girl was still crying. Hey, little friend, don't cry. It's scary. Lu Chen looked down at the little ghost girl. When she cried, there were no tears. The most important thing was that the sound of a ghost crying made his hair stand on end. The NPC raised his head and looked at Lu Chen, crying even more sadly. Lu Chen was also speechless. Was he that scary? It seemed like Jotian's quests were different from other games. It wasn't as simple as tapping on the screen. Oh right, the quest seemed to say that her name was Xiao Min. Xiao Min, I've already helped you get rid of the nightmare spirit. Why are you still crying? Lu Chen patiently guided her. Thank you, benefactor. Xiao Min raised her head, feeling wronged. But our crisis hasn't been completely resolved. I know I shouldn't ask for more, but I really have no other choice. Lu Chen hurriedly waved his hand. No, don't say that. Don't worry about my life or death. If you have any other requests, just say them. What a joke. If I don't ask for more, how can there be a follow-up quest? Benefactor, you're too kind. Xiao Min looked at Lu Chen gratefully with her hollow eyes. Then can you help me kill another 3,000 nightmare spirits? Lu Chen almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Did he kill the nightmare spirit again? Another 3,000. Those things were very difficult to kill. Wasn't it better to kill something else? With Lu Chen's experience, this should be the middle part of the follow-up quest. It wasn't the final quest yet. However, with his current attack methods, killing 3,000 nightmare spirits might take a week. At this moment, the quest appeared. Quest: completely eliminate nightmare spirits. Quest details: the crisis in the mass grave hasn't been resolved yet. Xiao Min requests you to help her kill 3,000 nightmare spirits. Quest reward: Ancient Fragment *2, Dungeon Source *1. As soon as he saw the mission reward, Lu Chen immediately swallowed his complaints. Ancient Fragment was a necessary tool to improve one's talent. Lu Chen now had a lot of talent fragments. Now, the quest directly gave him 2 of them. In other words, he could upgrade 2 talents. Accept. Damn, Xiao Min, you're too ruthless. After opening the quest tracking, Lu Chen looked at the data of 0/3000 and fell into silence. Previously, he could barely accept using that stupid method to kill 500, but now he actually had to kill 3,000. Although it was good to keep killing nightmare spirits, the experience was quite high. Materials, pure aura, and chaotic creature's soul were all dropped in large quantities. However, the most important point was that these things didn't drop equipment. Without equipment, he couldn't earn money. This was a loss. In a week's time, other players' levels had increased. Although Lu Chen could evolve, his equipment might fall behind. If he fell behind by 1 step, he would always fall behind. He didn't know what else to do after this quest. In short, Lu Chen had better complete it as soon as possible. And to complete this quest as soon as possible, there seemed to be only one shortcut. Lu Chen reluctantly opened the reputation store. Looking at the ugly and horrifying skin, Lu Chen gritted his teeth and bought it. Fuse with the headless flying corpse bloodline. Talent: Undead Bloodline, Rank 1. Reduce the physical defense of surrounding enemies by 8%. The Undead Bloodline was directly Rank 1. It seemed that monsters above level 20 would have a stronger talent. Of course, this talent was useless to Lu Chen. This was a Halo-type talent. Chapter 120. This quest would definitely take a long time, so Lu Chen decided to spend some time to send Ba Tu and the others back to the camp so that they could cultivate their spiritual power. Once again returning to the stone door, Lu Chen watched as his body floated through the stone door. Damn, that's scary. After entering the stone door, Lu Chen found that the nightmare specters he had fought before had respawned again. Blurry, translucent balls of light were floating back and forth. Ba Tu's ejection can eject 5 targets, including the first target, so I can attack 6 targets at the same time. The nightmare specters here were usually in groups of 2. Lu Chen pulled 3 groups of monsters, so there were exactly 6 of them. Taking a deep breath, Lu Chen began to pull the monsters. Come on. Fire. Lu Chen's gaze was fixed on the 2 nightmare specters in front of him. Then, his entire head shot out. When attacking, Lu Qin held two swords in each hand. Although he wasn't attacking with his hands, the system added the attributes of the weapons to the quest's attributes by default. Fortunately, Lu Qin didn't have to bite Tiger Weep to attack. During the attack, Lu Chen's flying speed suddenly increased, greatly surpassing his own flying speed. Oh my, that's fast. Lu Chen had just experienced the feeling of flying for a moment when his vision suddenly froze. This feeling was a bit like an out-of-body experience. He could clearly see his own head smashing towards the nightmare specters, and his consciousness was no longer using his character's head as a medium. It existed out of thin air. That works? Could Batu and the others be like this too? Lu Chen thought about it and felt that it was very likely. When Batu attacked, he could actually still see the situation around him. Otherwise, they couldn't rely on their heads to determine how to pull and choose targets. Their skulls were only offensive tools when they attacked. Only when they were not in a combat state would their skulls have expressions and their eyes look around. Looks like there are different states. In a non-combat state, my consciousness can return to my head. In a combat state, I'm in this ghost state, that's true. After all, she's a ghost. It's normal for her soul to have an out-of-body experience. Whether it was a human or a ghost, it had no effect on Lu Chen. In his current state, his vision was clearer. Bang! Lu Chen's head bumped into a nightmare spirit. Immune, it was reasonable that he couldn't deal any damage. Lu Chen's current goal was to pull the three groups of nightmare spirits together and then use magic attacks to clean them up. After hitting the first nightmare spirit, Lu Chen's head was fiercely bounced away and hit the next one. After a round of attacks, Lu Chen thought it was over. However, after flicking the second nightmare spirit, his head once again flicked towards the first monster. Fuck, I forgot about the combo. Seeing his head being bounced back and forth, Lu Chen felt pain. A combo wasn't as simple as attacking twice in a row. The essence of a combo was its speed. In fact, it divided an attack into two parts. Within the time it took to attack, 2 parts of damage would be dealt. This also caused Lu Chen's head to bounce back and forth very quickly. Bang 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 bang, in the blink of an eye, it had bounced back and forth between 2 monsters. After one attack, Lu Chen immediately went to pull the second group of nightmare spirits. When pulling monsters, Lu Chen's physical attacks couldn't deal any damage. However, this didn't affect him from pulling the aggro of the nightmare spirits. Not long after, 6 nightmare spirits were already following behind Lu Chen. When he finally pulled all the monsters, Lu Chen roared, "Fierce tiger descends the mountain." Tiger's roar. There were now 6 monsters here. The bouncing effect was at 100%. In addition, Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain had a combo effect. As a result, the flying speed of the head suddenly increased. Lu Chen's head crazily collided with the nightmare spirits. He couldn't even see clearly. One attack had dealt 24 damage. This didn't include the 48 poison attacks that he was immune to. In other words, if he didn't attack the nightmare spirits and used Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain at the same time, he could deal 72 damage in one complete attack. Of course, this also meant that Lu Chen's head bounced 23 times in less than 2 seconds. With just one attack, the first few nightmare spirits that were hit had already lost 3/4 of their HP. The one with the most HP had less than half of its HP left. After launching the second attack, Lu Chen's system had already refreshed the screen. Killed Nightmare Spirit, Level 22 Elite. Captured 1570 Aura Points. Obtained Rank 5 Talent Fragment 1. Obtained 5-star Quality Point. Obtained Chaotic Creature's Soul Essence 1. Extracted Pure Aura 1. Killed Nightmare Spirit, Level 22 Elite. Captured 1570 Aura Points. Obtained Rank 5 Talent Fragment 1. Obtained 5-star Quality Point. Obtained Chaotic Creature's Soul Essence 1. Extracted Pure Aura 1. Damn, I can kill them in 2 attacks. If there are fish that slip through the net, the third attack will definitely kill them. Lu Chen said in surprise. Pull the monsters from a distance. I won't be hit. This plan was definitely feasible. Now my farming speed is 3 times faster than before. I can complete this mission in 20 hours. Ha ha ha. After farming for 2 to 3 hours in the world behind the stone door, Lu Chen went offline on time. He had to sleep early today and could not stay up all night. The next morning, Lu Chen ate breakfast, went grocery shopping, and exercised as usual. Especially exercising. The body was the capital of a revolution. In order to earn more money, his body must not collapse. However, it was strange. In the past, when he worked outside, he did a lot of dirty and tiring work. It was understandable that his body was in good health. However, ever since he started playing Jiutian, he sat at home for a few hours. Especially in the past few days, he did not sleep well or eat on time. However, whether it was his energy or physical strength, he did not deteriorate. Instead, he felt that his body was full of vitality. 148149150. Lu Chen came down from the horizontal bar and looked at his hands. I actually did 150 pull-ups. In the past, I could only do 120 to 130 pull-ups. Lu Chen did not know what was going on with his body. He played games every day, but it was better than before. However, it was not a bad thing. Lu Chen took the groceries home. When he got home, he looked at the live broadcast on the official website. There were a few major changes in the country server. Firstly, there was a huge influx of players into the Tiger King's cave. With the help of the huge amount of experience points in the Tiger King's cave, the level of the players in the country server was much faster than before. Now, many of the top players were already at level 16. In addition, with the development of the Tiger King's cave, there were more and more class materials. This also led to a huge increase in the number of players in the country who changed their class. The 9 major classes that Tianqing had promoted back then were finally being shown in the game. Winchim had already brought a Phantom Moon Silver Wolf baby, and it was a wild elite baby. The Celestial Mountain was no longer a group of players who looked the same. Monks, martial artists, apothecaries, talisman masters, spiritual masters, sword spirit cultivators, explosive specialists, prophets, and puppet masters all had obvious differences. The differentiation of the classes greatly increased the success rate of the players in the Tiger King's cave. The materials in the Tiger King's cave also allowed more players to change their class. Looking at the different types of players, Lu Chen had a feeling. The huge world view of the Jiutian had finally been unveiled. Chapter 121. The Jiutian was getting more and more interesting, but Lu Chen was not happy. He still had more than 2,000 nightmare spirits to kill. Although his current efficiency was much higher than before, 3,000 nightmare spirits was still a ridiculous number, and only Lu Chen could do it. He would need at least 3 days. What kind of mission is this? I need to kill 3,000 monsters, and they're all elite monsters. It was already the 3rd day, and Lu Chen had already killed more than 2,700 nightmare spirits. Fortunately, there were not many left. He could definitely finish them by the end of the day. It was worth mentioning that Lu Chen's spiritual power had reached 12. These monsters would definitely drop pure spiritual power. It feels like the world behind the door. Although it's not like a dungeon, the rewards are still much higher than the outside world. 1 nightmare spirit is 1,500 EXP, and I'm already level 19. The materials also drop 5-star materials, but they don't drop equipment. A bunch of elite monsters don't drop equipment, and they still have the nerve to call themselves elite monsters. Lu Chen said indignantly. As they spoke, Lu Chen was getting deeper and deeper into the world behind the door. His surroundings were dark, and he had no idea where he was. Looking at the map, he was now very far away from the stone door. The area ahead is very bright. What's that? Lu Chen temporarily stopped killing monsters and approached carefully. The light came from a valley. Lu Chen avoided the patrolling nightmare spirits and snuck into the hillside. His body was completely hidden in the grass, and only his head flew up to a tree. Looking down from above, Lu Chen could clearly see the whole picture of the valley. The valley was not big. The hinterland of the valley was flat, and there was no vegetation. There was a strange light formation on the ground. It was a 6-star pattern, and there were complicated runes inside. The words and formation were all glowing. There were a large number of nightmare spirits patrolling the area, and there were a large number of headless flying corpses inside the formation. There were roughly 2,000 to 3,000 of them. Damn, Tianqing, do you have to be so serious? It's just a mission, and you're doing it like it's real. Xiao Min said that the nightmare spirits preyed on their souls, and it was actually happening here. At this time, Lu Chen did not dare to show his face. There were at least 1,000 nightmare spirits below, and he could not withstand their concentrated fire. This formation might be related to the later missions. Why did those nightmare spirits suddenly gather? Lu Chen's head hung on the tree, his brows tightly knitted. The 400 to 500 nightmare spirits stopped patrolling and gathered in one place. They lined up neatly in rows as if they were waiting for someone important. Considering that the situation here might be related to the follow-up mission, Lu Chen decided to take a look first. Not long after, a huge creature walked out from the other side of the valley. Normally, nightmare spirits were glowing balls of light. However, although this fellow was also glowing, it had a clear silhouette. Its silhouette was like a skeleton, and it held a huge sword in its hand. Its height was probably over 8 meters. Its avatar was the golden avatar of the boss, and its name was Red. Big Commander of Nightmare Vanguard, Cenobus, level 27, Lu Chen gulped. The follow-up mission would not require him to fight this thing, right? It would be fine if it was a normal boss, but nightmare spirits were too difficult to fight. Those small nightmare spirits could deal almost 900 HP to him, let alone this fellow. When Cenobus arrived, the headless flying corpses were very panicked. Cenobus did not care about the headless flying corpses' panic. It walked to the center of the formation, inserted its huge sword into the ground, and knelt down on one knee. Great God of the Undead, please accept our sacrifice. Then, it pressed its palm on the formation's core. The entire formation was instantly swallowed by the light, and the strong light was so bright that it was almost impossible to see clearly. However, there was a burst of hoarse cries and howls all around. The figures of the headless flying corpses were constantly elongated and distorted in the strong light. Not only that, but even the nightmare spirits were swallowed by the light pillar. The balls of light merged with the formation's light pillar. Even its own people are being sacrificed. This boss is quite ruthless. In the entire formation, only Cenobus knelt down on one knee. Its figure was still unaffected. It had to be said that Tianqing was indeed Tianqing. Even the storyline of the mission was so shocking. Lu Chen had not completed this mission, but these NPCs were so dedicated to this show. It probably won't make me fight that fellow, right? Otherwise, I probably won't be able to do it. The valley in front of him was already illuminated by the light pillar. There was no good show to watch. Lu Chen watched for a while, then left the valley. The last 200+ nightmare spirits were easily defeated. Lu Chen completed it in 2 hours. After defeating the last nightmare spirit, Lu Chen was relieved. He immediately rushed back to find the little ghost girl. After submitting the mission, Lu Chen's long-awaited reward finally arrived. He threw the damned instance dungeon source into his backpack first. The key was the 2 ancient fragments. I can finally upgrade my talents. Which of the 2 ancient fragments should he upgrade first? Now, Lu Chen had 6 talents, all of which were stuck at stage 4. Inferior werewolf bloodline had critical hit, inferior poisonous spider bloodline had 5-second poison, inferior snake bloodline had 7-step poison, inferior succubus bloodline had vision and beginner charm resistance, inferior tiger demon bloodline had combo attack, and undead bloodline had defense reduction. If it's poison, I feel like the damage is enough, unless I encounter something like a nightmare spirit. Lu Qin considered carefully. This was definitely a difficult decision. Vision is enough, too. I don't need to upgrade it for now. Then it's critical hit, combo attack, and defense reduction. Combo attack. I mainly need 2 parts of a combo attack. Since I already have it, I'll put it aside for now. I'll upgrade it to critical hit and see the effect. Critical hit was still ruthless. Together with Tiger Weep's bonus, the damage dealt to small monsters and bosses was off the charts. After the inferior werewolf bloodline evolved, even its name changed. The first 2, inferior, were gone, and it became werewolf bloodline directly. What was even more terrifying was that after this upgrade, there were new attributes. Talent, werewolf bloodline, level 0 25% double critical hit, 5% triple critical hit. Damn! Triple critical hit. Lu Chen was instantly shocked. Not only did it increase the chance of double critical hit by 2%, but there was also an additional triple critical hit. Moreover, Tiger Weep added 160% critical hit damage. Moreover, this critical hit damage did not only add 160%. For example, if the attack was 100 and double critical hit, it would cause 200 points of damage, of which 100 points would be critical hit damage. Tiger Weep added 160% critical hit damage, then it would add 160 critical hit damage, causing a total of 360 points of damage. However, if it caused a triple critical hit, then the critical hit damage would be 200 points. Tiger Weep added 160% critical hit damage, then it would add 320 points. In addition to the previous 200 points, 100 points of initial damage, once a critical hit damage, the total damage would reach 620 points. Too strong. I previously thought that there might be a qualitative change after this upgrade. There was indeed a qualitative change, but I didn't expect it to be this strong. Is this the path of a one-hit sword? Lu Qin panted heavily. In view of this terrifying qualitative change, he now had to carefully consider which of the remaining primordial fragments he should upgrade. Chapter 122. After much consideration, Lu Qin made a difficult decision between combo and defense reduction. In the end, he assigned the second primordial fragment to the Tiger Demon Bloodlines combo. Triple combo. Triple combo. Triple combo. Lu Qin prayed anxiously. He did not plan to upgrade the combo, but after seeing the qualitative change of the werewolf bloodline, he chose the Tiger Demon bloodline. If his guess was right and there was really a triple combo, then this skill would be very useful against bosses or small monsters. As for defense reduction, Lu Qin speculated that it might reduce the opponent's spiritual defense. Although it would be very useful in the future, at the moment, even the nightmare elves did not have high spiritual defense. Of course, this was all Lu Chen's guess. He did not know if it was right, so he could only rely on luck. He carefully opened the mission panel. Talent, Inferior Tiger Demon Bloodline, rank 5. Each attack can quickly launch 3 attacks. The attack power of the 3 attacks is 70% of the attack power of a single attack. Combo can enjoy the buffs of critical hit, burn, freeze, poison, and other effects. 0 out of 640, rank 6 talent fragment, 0 out of 2, primordial fragment, ha, that's great. It's really a triple combo. Lu Qin shouted excitedly. Combo was indeed overbearing. After the qualitative change, an additional attack was equivalent to a 50% increase in attack power. With this skill, Lu Chen's farming speed increased again. After the two talents were upgraded, Lu Chen's combat power had also undergone a qualitative change. This made Lu Chen deeply feel that farming those endless nightmare elves for the past few days was worth it. Oh, right, let's see if the little ghost girl has any more quests. It would be great if there are a few more primordial fragments as rewards. Lu Chen's head flew to Xiao Min. Xiao Min, is there anything else I can help you with? After a few interactions, Lu Chen felt that the little ghost girl's empty eye sockets were not so scary anymore. Instead, it gave him a pitiful feeling. Benefactor, you have already done a lot for us. I really don't want to trouble you anymore. Please don't say that. Lu Chen suddenly became nervous. Could it be that there was no more mission? No, I must make Xiao Min hand over the mission. Xiao Min, don't you understand? Slaying demons and upholding justice is the duty of our generation. How can you say it's troublesome? But benefactor, I don't want you to lose your life for us. You've already killed enough nightmare spirits and successfully delayed that thing's revival. Lu Chen sneered, are you kidding me? What's the use of delaying? We have to stop it. My life is not worth mentioning. Don't worry and leave the mission to me. Xiao Min was finally moved by Lu Chen's righteous attitude. Well, okay, but you must be careful. This mission is very dangerous. Whether it was dangerous or not was secondary. The most important thing was the reward. The mission came out quickly. Mission, steal spiritual energy. Mission description, behind the Nightmare Army, they have set up a terrifying spirit-gathering formation that absorbs large amounts of our souls and transforms them into pure spirit energy to speed up the awakening of that fellow. Please stop their actions. Mission content, when the undead spirit-gathering formation is activated, steal 500,000 points of pure spirit energy produced by the spirit-gathering formation. Explanation 1. The stolen pure spirit energy will be temporarily added to the player's elixir and will be removed after the mission is completed. Explanation 2. Although it is only temporarily added to the elixir, the physical strength determines the upper limit of the spiritual energy. Remember to act according to your ability. Once the spiritual energy exceeds the lowest physical three-dimensional attribute, the player will die and the mission will fail. The player's original spiritual energy level will be reset to 0. Mission reward, Grade 1 Spirit Gathering Elixir, 10,000 points of pure spirit energy, *10, Instance Dungeon Source *1, Lu Chen blinked his eyes. He already knew the location of the mission. It should be the valley he saw before. But, what? This mission said that he had to act according to his ability. His spiritual energy couldn't exceed the lowest physical three-dimensional attribute. Lu Chen was now level 19. As a player who hadn't changed professions, his three-dimensional attribute was 34. Therefore, his spiritual energy couldn't exceed 34. Even if he upgraded from level 1 to level 34, he would only need 59,500 points of pure spirit energy. Even if he was a level 25 player, according to the average calculation, his three-dimensional attribute was 70. Upgrading from level 1 to the top would only require 248,500 points of pure spirit energy. If he consumed all 500,000 points of pure spirit energy, he would definitely be stuffed to death. Not to mention that a level 25 player would definitely have changed professions. After strengthening some attributes, some others would still be lower than average. The total amount of pure spirit energy that could be absorbed in the end would be even lower. Besides, it was impossible for a level 25 player to only have one spiritual energy. Generally, if a player wanted to do this mission, they would have to constantly release pure spirit energy to make enough space for the elixir. This mission seemed to have to be done many times before it could be completed. However, Lu Chen's basic three-dimensional attribute was 204. His current spiritual energy level was 12.5. Upgrading to the top required 208 million. 500,000 wasn't enough for him. So, this mission is free? Lu Chen was stunned. He couldn't believe it. The previous missions were so troublesome, but when it came to this mission, it was actually free. Of course, for other players, this mission was very time-consuming. However, Lu Chen's abnormal three-dimensional attribute allowed him to do this mission without any pressure. Although the mission reward was no longer the primordial fragment, the first-grade spirit gathering elixir was obviously not a reward at this stage. For many players, perhaps the first-grade spirit gathering elixir was even more tempting. Now, Lu Chen still had 9 spirit gathering elixirs, which were given to him by the first place of the Celestial Execution Tower. One elixir only added 1,000 points of pure spirit energy. How many levels could he upgrade with 100,000 points of pure spirit energy? Other than Little Green and Little Black, the 8 little guys of the 4 great divine beasts and the 4 great divine beasts only needed 100,000 points of pure spirit energy to grow. Thinking about it this way, this reward was actually not worse than the primordial blood and the primordial fragment. Accept the mission. Lu Chen accepted the mission without hesitation. This mission is definitely not the final mission. What exactly is the final mission reward? Judging from the difficulty of the mission, I might really have to kill that Cenobus. I'll go. The rest of the mission could be left for later. Lu Chen accepted the mission and went straight through the stone door. He had already been to the valley last time. This time, he avoided the nightmare spirits and floated straight toward the valley. After floating for almost 20 minutes, Lu Chen finally reached his destination. After finding the crooked tree that he had peeked at last time, Lu Chen used the same trick again. He hung his head on the tree and disguised himself as a part of the tree. His body was completely hidden in the grass. At this time, a large number of headless flying corpses and nightmare spirits had gathered in the valley. This scene was exactly the same as what Lu Chen had seen before. Damn, it's spawning again. So fast. Not long after, that huge skeleton in the form of a spirit appeared with its greatsword. Cenobus did not even look at those panicking headless flying corpses. He walked to the center of the formation, inserted his greatsword into the ground, and knelt down on one knee. Great God of the undead, please accept our sacrifice. In the undead spirit gathering formation, a strong light burst out and shot straight into the sky. It's coming, it's coming. How do I collect it? Lu Chen was a little anxious. Xiao Min did not specify how to collect it. Since this is a spirit gathering formation, then I should cultivate and take a look. Lu Chen immediately sat cross-legged and entered a state of cultivation. At this moment, a miracle happened. Lu Chen was shocked to find that his system messages were crazily flooding the screen. Obtained 3,000 pure spiritual energy, obtained 4,000 pure spiritual energy, obtained 4,000 pure spiritual energy, damn, my pure spiritual energy is rising. Is it crazy? Chapter 123. The speed of the refresh could be said to be the fastest in history. Every time, it increased by 3 to 4,000. Obtained 4,000 pure spiritual energy, obtained 4,000 pure spiritual energy, obtained 3,000 pure spiritual energy, fuck, what the hell? Lu Chen was dumbfounded. His spiritual power level was like riding an airplane. Spiritual Pill 14, 126/1400, Pure Spiritual Energy, Spiritual Pill 16, 1126/1600, Pure Spiritual Energy, Spiritual Pill 19, 126/1900, Pure Spiritual Energy. Although the pure spiritual energy was added at the last minute, this feeling was too good. This is the power of the spirit gathering array. It's too freaking abnormal. Lu Chen looked at the array in horror. Arrays were the specialty of talisman array masters. If a high-level talisman array master could make such a spirit-gathering array, it would be too terrifying. Of course, perhaps when talisman array masters reached the level of making such a powerful array, the amount of pure spiritual energy they needed would be very terrifying. But no matter what, Lu Chen already realized how terrifying the 9 major professions would be in the future. The pillar of light was still bursting with strong light, and Lu Chen's pure spiritual energy was also rising crazily. An increase of 3 to 4,000 spiritual energy was not something an ordinary player's spiritual core could withstand. Moreover, the speed was too fast. In just a few seconds, Lu Chen's spiritual power had already risen several levels. The speed of growth is so fast. If I'm not careful, I might really explode and die. Lu Chen finally understood the difficulty of this mission. Not only was it time-consuming, but there was also a great risk. Once the body exploded and died, the original spiritual power level would be reset to 0. This mission was so terrifying. However, Lu Chen did not care at all. He fully enjoyed the feeling of his spiritual power soaring. A mere 500,000 spiritual energy was not enough for him. After a while, the system messages finally stopped. Lu Chen glanced at the mission tracking. 500,000 pure spiritual energy was enough. At this time, his spiritual power was 101. Mission completed. Before leaving, Lu Chen glanced at the spirit gathering array. At this time, the pillar of light had disappeared. There was only one person left in the array. That huge figure slowly stood up, standing alone in the great array. The headless flying corpses and Bai Lin had all turned into ashes, leaving him alone. After careful observation, Lu Chen suddenly realized that Cenobus' body seemed to be shorter than before. Why? It's worse than I expected. Sanabi's deep voice was tinged with anger. This guy won't find out that I stole his pure spiritual chi, right? Lu Chen felt a little guilty. Fortunately, Cenobus did not discover Lu Chen. As a person whose vision was 400 meters higher than the average person, Lu Chen was born to be a scout. Cenobus probably didn't understand either. He stood there foolishly for a while before giving up. After Cenobus left, Lu Chen hurriedly left as well. After exiting the stone door, Lu Chen successfully completed the quest. He received 10 grade 1 spirit gathering pills and an instance dungeon source. After putting the treasures into his backpack, Lu Chen stared at the little ghost girl. First, he wanted to see when the system would take back his spiritual chi. Second, Lu Chen wanted to think about how to receive the follow-up quest. But this time, before Lu Chen could speak, the little ghost girl spoke first. Xiao Min looked very excited and floated up. I can't believe that you actually succeeded in stealing the spirit gathering array's spiritual chi. That's great. This way, not only did we delay the appearance of that guy, but Cenobus must be very weak now. Benefactor, can you help us eliminate Cenobus? Damn, we have to kill that boss in the 4th round. Benefactor, you don't have to be afraid. Activating the spirit gathering array will consume a lot of Cenobus' spiritual chi. Originally, after the spirit gathering array disappears, part of its spiritual chi will return to its body. At that time, it will become very powerful. But now that the spirit gathering array has failed to activate, its spiritual chi has been stolen by us. Without the spiritual chi feedback, Cenobus' strength is only 1/10 of its original. As long as we kill it, we can open the undead gate. That is an important clue to find the door of the Twilight of the Gods. Although we don't have the strength to defeat the guy on the other side of the door of the dead, I believe that one day, there will be a strong person who will kill that terrifying guy. Ah! The door of the Twilight of the Gods. After Lu Chen heard this, he was stunned for a moment. He immediately opened his mission list. Currently, there was only one mission on his list. Mission, Divine Blood Demon Seed, even the name of this mission was orange. Complete the missions, Ultimate Mythical Beast, and Ultimate Ferocious Beast, and clear the 3 hidden dungeons, Twilight of the Gods, Demon Shrine, and Haunted Valley. Collect the 4 Ultimate Ferocious Beasts, Black Rock Dragon Emperor, Purple Flame Phoenix, Sky Devouring Demonic Tiger, and Emperor Fu Hai. Mission progress, 1/4, collect the 4 ultimate mythical beasts, Azure Dragon, Foodie Vermilion Bird, Aurora White Tiger, and Gilded Black Tortoise. Mission progress, 1/4, Twilight of the Gods, Instance Dungeon, incomplete, Demon Shrine, Instance Dungeon, incomplete, Haunted Valley, Instance Dungeon, incomplete, Mission Reward, 1 portion of Divine Blood, 1 portion of Demon Seed. Lu Chen never expected that this stone door mission was actually related to the hidden dungeon, Twilight of the Gods. The Door of the Dead was an important clue to finding the door of the Twilight of the Gods. Even though Lu Chen had the urge to give up the mission when he saw the Divine Blood Demon Seed mission, there was now an additional clue. Lu Chen furrowed his brows and asked solemnly, "Is that Skeleton King also a nightmare spirit? Is physical attack effective?" "Physical attack is ineffective, but your spiritual power has reached the upper limit now. You can use spiritual attack to attack, and I will assist you to increase your spiritual attack." Lu Chen's spiritual power had obviously not reached the upper limit. It seemed that no one could reach such a high level of spiritual power, so Xiao Min assumed that Lu Chen's spiritual power was already at the upper limit. At this moment, a new mission appeared. Mission, Kill the Watchdog. Mission description, this is when Cenobus is at his weakest. It is also the best time for us to counterattack. Mission details, work with Xiao Min to kill the Door of the Dead's watchdog, Cenobus. Explanation 1, this mission must be completed within 5 hours after the completion of the Steal Spiritual Power mission. Otherwise, the mission will be considered a failure. The player will have to accept the Steal Spiritual Power mission again and will not enjoy any rewards. Explanation 2, if the player is killed during the mission, the player will permanently lose all spiritual energy and spiritual power level, the player's own spiritual power level. At the same time, Cenobus will be strengthened. Mission reward, Ghost Pet Xiao Min, purple, unique in the entire server, available to all professions, origin of the instance dungeon *1, Lu Chen looked at Xiao Min. This fellow had been acting pitiful for a few days. What kind of purple ghost pet was this? You can fight Cenobus with me, and you even let me kill so many nightmares. Speaking of which, if he recruited Xiao Min, he would have another strange member in his team. The mission was obviously not easy to complete, but Lu Chen still decided to give it a try. We're finally going to fight the boss. Xiao Min, you better not disappoint me. Let's go and kill that watchdog. Accept the mission to kill the watchdog. Lu Chen took a deep breath and stepped through the stone door again. Chapter 124. Xiao Min had joined the party. The two ghosts silently floated towards the valley. When they reached the valley, Lu Chen observed the spirit gathering formation. After completing the spirit stealing quest, there were no more headless flying corpses and nightmare spirits spawning in the spirit gathering formation. Cenobus was also not here. There were only the talismans on the ground in the valley, making it seem empty. Maybe Cenobus is too weak to activate the formation again. Lu Chen was a little depressed. He had unknowingly imagined so many scenarios. Wasn't this just a game? Why was he thinking so much? Oh right, Xiao Min, what skills do you have? You should at least tell me so I can come up with a strategy. Lu Chen looked at the little mummy. Xiao Min ignored Lu Chen and floated towards the valley. Hey, Xiao Min. Lu Chen frowned. Why didn't this girl listen to his instructions? It would be troublesome if she attracted monsters. He quickly followed. Fortunately, there were no ghosts here. Xiao Min came to the center of the formation alone. At this moment, Lu Chen noticed that there was a pearl floating there. This pearl was about the size of a fist. It was completely red and covered with strange patterns. Lu Chen frowned. The reason why formations could be activated was that they needed a magic treasure to hold the formation. The magic treasure was placed in the center of the formation to provide energy for the formation to operate. Since this undead spirit gathering array was so powerful, it naturally needed a magic treasure to hold it down. Could this bead be a magic treasure? Thinking of this, Lu Chen reached out to take the pearl. Don't move. Xiao Min suddenly said. Why? Lu Chen asked curiously. Xiao Min turned around and looked at Lu Chen's head with her hollow eyes. Do you know about the 3 god pearls? No, I only know about the 7 dragon pearls. Xiao Min directly ignored the second half of Lu Chen's sentence. The 3 divine beads are the dust bead, the red pill bead, and the dust avoidance bead. Lu Chen frowned as he listened to the NPC's explanation. He had to listen carefully. Firstly, it might have something to do with the twilight of the gods. Secondly, it might be the best equipment in the Jiutian. Every single one of the 3 divine pearls contains an incomparably enormous power. Even though this fake urchin pearl is far from being as powerful as the real urchin pearl, if one were to take it without grasping the key points, one would definitely die. Then, Xiao Min's voice became choked with sobs. My parents and family were destroyed by this bead, never to be reincarnated. At this moment, the pseudo-Mucan pearl's entire body became transparent, and some images actually appeared within the pearl. In the forest, a family of 5 people in ragged clothes were fleeing in panic. The adult man urged everyone to run while constantly looking back at the dense forest behind him. There were always some strange noises in the forest. He didn't know if it was the rustling of the trees or something hidden in the forest. Not long after, they escaped to a barren wasteland. A few white shadows flashed past, and the family of 5 instantly fell into a pool of blood. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Were these Xiao Min's former family? That little girl should be what Xiao Min looked like when she was alive. She was actually a little lowly. The white shadows seemed to be the Phantom Moon Silver Wolf. Did they die in the hands of the Phantom Moon Silver Wolf? After an unknown period of time, the sun set and the sun rose. Spring and winter alternated. The fearless corpses on the barren wasteland actually moved. Even though they did not reincarnate and were reborn in the form of undead, they no longer had to be afraid. They hid underground during the day and could gather as a family at night. Instead, their days became peaceful and warm. Until Cenobus appeared. In order to protect Xiao Min's parents, brother, and sister pounced on Cenobus. At that moment, Lu Chen saw the eyes on Xiao Min's parents' heads. He actually felt that this gaze was somewhat familiar. Just as they approached Cenobus, a crimson pearl appeared. Along with many other headless flying corpses, their bodies and souls were stretched until they were completely sucked into the Mucan pearl. Seeing this, Lu Chen already knew about Xiao Min's past. He also knew that the pearl in front of him was that crimson pearl. Lu Chen instinctively retracted his hand. It turned out that Xiao Min didn't come to take the pearl, but to see her family. For some reason, Lu Chen's heart felt heavy. He had to admit that Tian Xing had put in a lot of effort into the cutscenes. Every character's expression, action, scene, and plot were all so realistic that when Lu Chen looked at the little ghost beside him again, he couldn't treat her as a pure NPC. In order to protect her, her family members were destroyed in body and soul. Therefore, this little ghost girl had been guarding outside the stone door. Day after day, her body became drier than the 8 heads. She must have waited for a very, very long time. She had been waiting for someone who could help her take revenge. Xiao Min didn't have eyes, but those empty eye sockets seemed to let others see her pain. Xiao Min, benefactor, let's go. It's getting late. Okay. Lu Chen stopped thinking about the Mucan pearl. It seemed that it wasn't something that players could take at the moment. Lu Chen sorted out his emotions. No matter how realistic the game was, it was still a game. He had to arrange his work and rest time properly. He couldn't be addicted to the game. After passing through the passage in the valley, another small valley appeared in front of them. There, the watchdog, Cenobus, was resting against the side of the mountain. Chapter 125. Lu Chen was already the strongest player at the moment, but the monsters in Jiutian seemed to be even more terrifying. When Lu Chen stood in front of Cenobus, his huge body seemed to symbolize the difference in strength between the two sides. Cenobus was also a spirit-type monster, so Lu Chen had to add spiritual attack into his attacks. Of course, he still had Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain and Tiger's Roar. Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain, Tiger's Roar. Lu Chen maxed out his damage right from the start. Standing beside Cenobus, Lu Chen launched his first round of attacks. -1681, critical hit, -474, critical hit, -1721, critical hit, -482, critical hit, -1644, critical hit. After leveling up his talent combo, Lu Chen directly dealt 6 hits in one go. The total damage was 7,666. A large chunk of Cenobus' HP had been taken away. His health isn't very high. Lu Chen was pleasantly surprised. This guy also had 30,000 health. It seemed that his main strength was high in spiritual attack, but his health was average. Based on this damage, Lu Chen only needed to launch 5 waves of attacks to kill this guy. Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain's cooldown was 2 minutes. 4 cooldowns would be enough. When Lu Chen went forward to attack Lu Chen, Xiao Min was like a shadow, following Lu Chen. Be careful, he's about to counterattack. Attack range, 8 meters. Cenobus turned very slowly, and his attack movements were also slower than most bosses. Based on this speed, Lu Chen estimated that he should be able to dodge. After one wave of attacks succeeded, he quickly retreated. In Jiutian's game mechanics, if you were within the opponent's attack range, unless you had the dodge attribute, you couldn't dodge the opponent's attack. However, there was one exception. That was, when the opponent had already launched an attack, before the attack ended, retreating out of the opponent's attack range would allow you to avoid the opponent's attack. In fact, this could be done in many games as well. In Jiutian, to do this, one had to have an extremely accurate control of the distance. At the same time, other conditions had to be met. For example, Cenobus' attack speed was slow, and Lu Chen's movement speed was fast enough to complete the retreat. Lu Chen had just retreated out of the attack range when the opponent's greatsword was about to land, and he managed to avoid the attack. Arg! Cenobus seemed to be very angry at his failure and roared angrily. The next moment, Cenobus raised his greatsword and placed it in front of his chest. A stream of light suddenly appeared on the blade and quickly passed through the greatsword. It's the yellow-grade martial art, Great Ravager Sweep. It creates 3 arc-shaped sword chi, and each sword chi is 13 meters long. Benefactor, move quickly. Run in one direction, and don't look back. Xiao Min shouted. Lu Chen didn't dare to be negligent. As he fled, he took the opportunity to open up the Reputation Mall. As a gamer who had almost entered the esports scene, it was easy for him to handle such details. Purchase a yellow-level cultivation method summary scroll. Use. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Chen's body flashed with a golden light, and Great Ravager's Sweep swept toward him. A huge arc of sword chi flew toward Lu Chen. Seeing this huge sword chi, Lu Chen's 100-meter dash was instantly reduced to 9 seconds. Oh my god. The 3 sword chi were not released at the same time, but one after the other. Lu Chen barely dodged the first sword chi, but the second sword chi was about to reach him. Fuck, this is going to kill me. I won't be cut in half if I get hit by this, right? Lu Chen didn't care about anything else. Running for his life was more important. He finally dodged the 3 sword chi. Benefactor, take advantage of this opportunity to attack. Although Lu Chen mainly relied on Tiger's Roar to attack, it would be good if he could deal a little more damage. Xiao Min said that this was an opportunity, so it shouldn't be wrong. Lu Chen quickly rushed towards Cenobus, his two swords dancing. -533, -512, -497. His movements were as fierce as a tiger, but he lost 1500 HP. Retreat, he's going to attack again. Fuck you, so your only use is to be a live commentator, right? Lu Chen cursed as he quickly retreated. Cenobus' greatsword looked terrifying, and Lu Chen didn't want to be hit. Suddenly, Cenobus raised his greatsword high. Ugh, spiritual sword rain. Lu Chen hurriedly asked Xiao Min, what skill is this, tell me. Xiao Min carefully looked at Cenobus' greatsword, then turned around to look at the battlefield. Suddenly, she said, it's an AoE attack that almost covers the entire valley. Hurry, run to the entrance of the valley. Fuck. Lu Chen used all his strength to run toward the entrance of the valley. At this moment, Lu Chen really regretted it. He should have upgraded his venomous spider bloodline. Maybe it would have increased his movement speed. If it weren't for Lu Chen's tall physique, he wouldn't have had enough stamina to fight this battle. Just as Lu Chen ran near the entrance, the entire battlefield behind him was bathed in countless illusory arrows that fell from the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A large number of translucent arrows crazily smashed into the ground. What's the level of this skill? Profound. Fuck, I really want this skill. Lu Chen really wanted to cry. With this skill, farming in the wild and fighting would be awesome. Hurry, don't be too far away, or you'll have to leave the battle. Lu Chen shook his head. As expected, this battle was going to be a tough one. Not only did he have to run all over the place, but if he made the slightest mistake, all his previous efforts would be wasted. When the rain of swords ended, Lu Chen quickly rushed towards Cenobus and took the opportunity to attack. 8 minutes, I must hold on. 2 minutes later, Lu Chen launched his second wave of fierce attacks, dealing another 7,500 damage. 4 minutes later, the third wave of attacks. This time, Lu Chen's luck was off the charts. He directly dealt 3 times the critical hit, dealing 9,000 damage in one wave. At this time, Lu Chen had already used Tiger Descends the Mountain and Tiger's Roar 3 times, with many normal attacks in between. Cenobus's HP was only left with around 5,000. One more attack and he would be able to kill it. In order to avoid Cenobus's attacks, Lu Chen didn't rest for a moment. He was either fighting or running. Unknowingly, his stamina was rapidly depleting. Just as Tiger Descends the Mountain's cooldown was about to end, Lu Chen's stamina was the first to run out. Oh no, I don't have enough stamina. I can't run or attack. Cenobus's greatsword attack came again. Lu Chen tried to escape again, but halfway through, his stamina was depleted. He couldn't run anymore. Fuck. Seeing the greatsword that was several times larger than himself coming at him, Lu Chen was frustrated and desperate. Just a little bit more. At this time, Xiao Min suddenly rushed in front of Lu Chen. Benefactor, promise me that you'll avenge me and my family. Xiao Min. Lu Chen looked at the little ghost girl in surprise. Wasn't her role to attack and warn him of skills? I said that I'd protect you at a critical moment. Benefactor, I believe you'll succeed. Also, thank you. After saying that, Xiao Min's body suddenly turned into countless light spots and exploded in front of Lu Chen. These light spots were just about to disperse, but they were forcefully compressed by a force. Finally, they formed a ball of light that wrapped Lu Chen in the middle. Lu Chen's stamina quickly recovered and was back to full in an instant. At the same time, the ball of light blocked Cenobus's fatal attack. In the end, it shattered into light spots and scattered. Xiao Min. Lu Chen suddenly felt his heart ache. At this time, Tiger Descends the Mountain's cooldown was finally over. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and rushed at Cenobus. Fuck. Tiger Descends the Mountain, Tiger's Roar. Explode. Chapter 126. With the last wave of attacks, Cenobus' huge body finally fell. Killed Cenobus, level 27 storyline boss. Captured 23,000 points of heaven and earth spirit energy. Obtained 10 pure spirit energy. Ding. Obtained item, Instance Dungeon Source. Obtained item, Black Level Technique Scroll, Spiritual Sword Rain. Obtained item, Dead Soul Door Key, Mission Item. This boss was actually a storyline boss, and it did not even drop materials. However, what surprised Lu Chen was that he did not even need to learn the Instance Dungeon Source and the group attack technique that he had been dreaming of. Just this cultivation method alone was probably worth a sky-high price. The mission, Kill the Watchdog, had been completed, but who should he give the mission to? Xiao Min seemed to have died just now. Benefactor. Hearing this voice, Lu Chen suddenly turned around and found a spirit floating in front of him. The current Xiao Min was no longer in the form of a mummy, but a mass of energy. However, unlike the nightmare spirit, which did not have a specific form, Xiao Min had her own appearance. It was the little loli he saw in the red pearl. Xiao Min. You're still alive. Benefactor, I'm not really alive now. It's just that my physical body has been destroyed, and now I'm in the state of a spirit. Lu Chen also breathed a sigh of relief. There was a place to hand in the mission, and after this series of missions, he did not want Xiao Min to disappear just like that. He had to admit that the current Xiao Min looked much cuter. Benefactor, thank you for avenging me. Xiao Min said happily. Now that my resentment has been resolved, I can reincarnate again. However, to completely defeat that guy, Benefactor still has a long way to go. Xiao Min is worried about Benefactor being alone. If Benefactor doesn't mind, can Xiao Min follow Benefactor? Lu Chen was waiting for this sentence. A purple spirit pet should be very strong. Of course. Lu Chen smiled slightly. Obtained Instance Dungeon Source *1. Obtained Purple Spirit Pet, Xiao Min, all 5 Instance Dungeon support items were gathered. Lu Chen did not take them seriously, but since they were all gathered, it was an unexpected gain. Lu Chen gained a lot from this series of missions. It was not a waste of time and energy. In the pet column, after the 10 beasts, there was an additional, Spirit Pet, Xiao Min. What are the attributes of a purple pet? Let's see. Pet, Xiao Min, purple, the only one in the entire server, type, spirit, level, 19, his level shouldn't be higher than mine, Lu Chen speculated. Body toughness, body destroyed, no attributes, spiritual strength, spiritual power of spiritual power, 101. Seeing this, Lu Chen felt that it was familiar. This spiritual force seemed to be the spiritual force that he had reached before. He looked at his attributes. His spiritual force had returned to 12 points. It seems that how much spiritual force I can get from the 3rd mission will eventually become Xiao Min's spiritual force. Fuck, Xiao Min has 101 spiritual force. He continued to look. Health points, 2000, Spirit Bloodline, Talent 1, cannot be upgraded. Spirit Body, immune to physical attacks, can be permanently invisible during the day, special magic treasures or charms can make it appear. Spirit Body Bloodline Talent 2, cannot be leveled up. Possess a unit on your side. The possessed unit will receive a 35% movement speed increase and immunity to a certain death damage every 120 seconds. The possessed unit will also be able to become invisible during the day for 100 seconds. Active attacks or special artifacts or charms can cause the unit to appear. Spirit Bloodline, Talent 3, Level 4 provide a spiritual force enhancement halo to the surroundings, causing allies within a 20-meter diameter to attack with 80% of Xiao Min's spiritual force, 81 points, damage. It turned out that Xiao Min was a support-type pet. Xiao Min didn't even have a 3-dimensional body. Sure enough, her body was destroyed. And her health points were only 2000. It felt like Lu Chen could kill her in one hit. However, Xiaomin must have her capital to be able to become a purple ghost pet. She actually had 3 talents. And each talent could be called a godly skill. Spirit Body's 2 sentences were enough to drive people crazy. Immunity to physical attacks. Then the concept of her 2000 health points was that whoever could hit 2000 spiritual attack could kill her instantly. As long as she couldn't be killed instantly, she could run or possess. In short, although her health points were low, it was almost impossible to die. During the day, she was permanently invisible and couldn't be found. It was simply a shameless skill. Fortunately, it was the only one in the entire server. Possession increased movement speed by 35%. This was already strong enough. In the end, she was immune to certain death damage and actively obtained the stealth effect. Once every 120 seconds. It was simply a godly skill to fight a high explosive boss or turn the tide of a battle. The last skill was even more simple and violent. It was an aura-type talent that increased attack. Every attack had a spiritual attack. I don't know if my fierce tiger descends the mountain will trigger this effect multiple times in a row. Lu Chen really wanted to give it a try. Unfortunately, there were no monsters around. He had to walk a little further to find the nightmare spirit. Lu Chen didn't lack fighters. What he lacked now was this kind of support-type helper. Not only could it save him, but it could also save the team members. The 10 beasts were definitely worthy of the title of Purple Ghost Pet. So strong. Oh right, Xiaomin, what is this undead gate key for? It says that it's a quest item. Master, Xiaomin had already changed her words. That's the key to open the undead gate. The undead gate is nearby. It's a level 50 elite dungeon. Level 50. Lu Chen immediately dismissed the idea of going to the undead gate. Anyway, the Divine Blood Demon Seed quest wasn't something that could be completed in a short period of time. This time, he had already earned a lot from the Stone Door quest. Lu Chen was quite satisfied. Xiaomin seemed to be different from the 8-headed 3 idiots. She could converse with Lu Chen. Or rather, the 10 beasts seemed to be more agile. Perhaps Tianqing had set some AI settings for his pets. Xiaomin, do you know what a dungeon is for? A dungeon is actually a kind of paradise. Master, haven't you noticed that as long as it's a wild monster in a dungeon, their quality is higher than wild monsters? Lu Chen nodded. That's true. But isn't this arranged by the programmer? Zhoutian has its own wild monster ecosystem. Everything happens for a reason. Xiaomin said something profound. But Lu Chen was touched. Wild monster ecosystem. Could this be the reason why he still existed in the game? Not only did Tianqing not come looking for him to delete or reset his account, but he also had his own evolution path. Master, a dungeon is not only filled with spiritual energy, but it is also the most important place to store and synthesize spirit essences. What do you mean? Lu Chen immediately became excited. He needed a large amount of spirit essences to feed the 10 beasts. As the only NPC that provided the dungeon source, Xiaomin was very clear about dungeons. When a unit dies in a dungeon, part of its spirit essences will dissipate. A dungeon is a sealed environment with abundant spiritual energy, so it can be collected and stored. Lu Chen frowned. He had 3,500 spirit essences in his backpack. Why could they only be stored in dungeons? Thinking of this, Lu Chen checked his backpack. With one look, Lu Chen was shocked. Fuck, I only have 3,200 spirit essences left. Alright, now Lu Chen had to believe that the things in his backpack had an expiration date. Dungeons can collect and store spirit essences. I guess I understand now. Then what is this synthesizing thing you were talking about? After a spirit essence leaves a living creature, it's just a ball of pure energy with attributes. When spirit essences of different attributes are mixed, they can be synthesized into spirit essences of new attributes. Lu Chen was confused, but he finally came to a conclusion. It didn't matter if other people built dungeons, but he had to build one. Not only did he have to build it, but he also had to upgrade it in the future. The more players entered, the more spirit essences he could collect in the dungeon. The rations of the 10 beasts depended on the dungeon. Chapter 127. After returning from the Stone Gate world, Lu Qin returned to Ren Ai Peak. After checking his backpack, Lu Qin hurriedly fed the chaotic creature's soul to little Hun Hun. It wouldn't expire if it was kept in its stomach. There were 12 spirit gathering pills, 10 grade 1 spirit gathering pills, 8 spirit source fragments, 5 instance dungeon sources, 1 dead spirit door secret room, 1 low yellow level skill book, Great Ravager Sweep, and 1 low black level skill book, Spirit Sword Rain. After synthesizing the instance dungeon sources, Lu Qin followed the guidance of the instance dungeon option and asked the idiots to get stone, wood, and other materials. These materials required a lot, and it wouldn't be easy to get them in a short time. It seemed that the idiots would have to work hard for the next few days. Upgrade the spirit source. Lu Qin opened the territory option and chose the spirit source. The territory's spirit source was now at level 1, and 1 fragment could upgrade it by 10%. After using up all the fragments, it would be upgraded to 80%. Putting the spirit gathering pills aside, Lu Qin looked at the 2 skills first. The yellow level skill book was summarized by Lu Qin. After the summary, Lu Qin could learn it directly. In Lu Qin's skill book, there was a second skill book under Entanglement of Spider Silk. Great Ravager Sweep, Level 1, uses spiritual energy to launch several sword auras. Each sword aura causes 180% spiritual attack, 22 points, in area damage. Each sword aura consumes 300 points of pure spiritual energy. The first sword aura requires 3 seconds of charging. If used consecutively, the subsequent sword auras will charge for 1 second. You can stop the skill. When your spiritual energy is less than 300 points, you will stop the skill. So it's this mechanism. Lu Qin frowned. This skill book was very simple. It just increased spiritual attack and produced an area of effect attack. There were no other effects, and the damage was very low. It was worthy of its title as a low yellow level skill. It was the same skill, but the boss used a strong skill. Lu Qin used it, but it was like scratching an itch. Lu Qin was still a little unwilling to give up. It was hard to get an area of effect skill book, and it would be a pity to just throw it away. If Xiaomin's aura could increase the damage of Great Ravager's horizontal sweep, it would only deal 103 points of damage. Lu Qin could unleash 4 streaks of sword qi, which would deal around 400 points of damage. It's too low. AoE attacks really do have low damage. If I had more pure spiritual energy, it might be useful. But now, I can only use it 4 times. The damage can't stack up. Lu Qin shook his head. The Great Ravager's horizontal sweep was truly a useless do, unable to deal any damage. Take a look at the spiritual sword rain. Lu Qin tried to click learn, but the system said, your spiritual energy does not meet the learning requirements. The minimum spiritual energy requirement to learn Rain Sword is 500 points. Damn, there's even a spiritual power requirement. After looking at the 2 techniques, Lu Qin became more and more aware that in the later stages of Jiutian, physical strength was nothing. What was truly powerful was spiritual power. Since he could not learn it, he would just leave it in the army's warehouse. Lu Qin's gaze landed on the Great Ravager's sweep. Little cow can't grow with just pure spiritual energy. It's a waste to give it these spirit-gathering pills. In view of the importance of spiritual power, Lu Qin changed his strategy and took the spirit-gathering pills himself. With 2,000 points of pure spiritual energy, Lu Qin swallowed them all in one go. Lu Qin's spirit-gathering pills directly leveled up to level 49. His spiritual energy reached 49 points, and his spirit-gathering pills had 4,900 points of pure spiritual energy. Now, the damage of the Great Ravager's horizontal sweep was 88 points. If Xiaomin's aura was added, the damage would reach 169 points. Most importantly, the amount of spirit-gathering pills had increased. Lu Chen could use 16 sword auras in a row, and the total damage could stack up to 2,700 points. It's still useless. Lu Chen sat on the ground, frowning. If the damage couldn't kill the monster, then AoE attacks were meaningless. Racking his brains, Lu Chen thought of all the methods he could use to increase his spiritual energy. In the end, he placed his hopes on Tiger Weep. Cenobus also relied on equipment to increase his spiritual attack. This means that the skill is affected by the equipment. Although Tiger Weep only increased physical attack, if he used Tiger Roar, all of his physical attack would be converted into spiritual attack. Thinking of this, Lu Chen suddenly became excited. He quickly used Tiger Roar. Great Ravager's horizontal sweep, level 1. Uses spiritual energy to launch several sword auras. Each sword aura deals 180% spiritual attack, 1090 to 1120, AoE damage. Adding Xiaomin's attack, it was close to 1,200 points of damage. This damage is good enough. Lu Chen hurriedly ran out of the territory and found a wild tiger monster to test it out. Tiger Roar. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The 3 sword auras had a large attack range and took 3,500 points of the tiger monster's HP. The damage was already quite impressive. He was just a bit away from insta-killing it. But the stranger thing was still to come. After Lu Chen released the 3 sword auras, he suddenly discovered something terrifying. In the skill description, his damage was still 1,200 points. How could it be? What the hell? Why is my spiritual attack still so high? The effect of Tiger Roar was that the next 3 attacks would convert physical attack into spiritual attack. If he did not attack after using Tiger Roar, this effect would last for 60 seconds until Tiger Roar's cooldown. That's right, it's because I used a skill attack and not a normal attack. So from Tiger Roar's point of view, I did not complete the next 3 attacks. My physical attack was still converted into spiritual attack. Thinking of this, Lu Chen could not remain calm. If his thinking was correct, it meant that as long as he did not use a normal attack, he could always maintain 1,200 points of damage. 16 sword auras, 19,200 points of damage. And it was an AoE attack. Lu Chen could not wait and directly waved Tiger Weep. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Dozens of sword auras were swept away. In the skill description, his damage was still 1,200. Even Lu Chen was so excited that he forgot himself. Ha 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 ha, I found a loophole. Ha ha ha, I'm going to have a great time killing monsters now. After returning to the territory, Lu Chen brought little Han Dan and Xiao Min and went straight to the stone gate. Boss, what are we going to do? Let them build the dungeon first. We're going to try out my new skill. Lu Chen spoke with confidence. After arriving at the world of the stone gate, Lu Chen let Xiao Min possess him and carried little Han Dan as he ran past the Bai Ling. Little cow was indeed a divine beast cub. It was not good at fighting, but its ability to attract aggro was top-notch. The Bai Ling noticed the divine beast cub from afar and ran over with Lu Chen. Now that Lu Chen had an additional 35% movement speed, he did not have to worry about being caught. Instead, he had to slow down from time to time to prevent them from losing him. Along the way, Lu Chen kept pulling aggro. The Bai Ling behind him had already gathered into a large group of white balls of light. Previously, Lu Chen did not run through the entire world of the stone gate. But this time, he had almost figured out the map of the entire world of the stone gate. Xiao Min, how many are there? 1,800. Alright, that's about it. Lu Chen quickened his pace and ran a few steps toward the empty space in front of him. Then, he suddenly stopped and placed little Hun Dun in front of him. When the Bai Ling saw little Hun Dun there, they continued to charge toward him. Lu Qin held Tiger Whip with both hands, took a deep breath, and accumulated power, Great Ravager Sweep. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. 5 sword auras swept toward the Bai Ling army, extending dozens of meters away. -1,200, -1,206, -1,192, -1,194, -1,211. Countless numbers jumped out from the Bai Ling's head. In the next moment, Lu Chen's system notifications flooded the screen crazily. Killed Bai Ling, level 22 elite. Captured 1,570 aura points. Obtained 1 stage 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 5-star quality point. Obtained 1 chaos type creature soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. Killed Bai Ling, level 22 elite. Captured 1,570 aura points. Obtained 1 stage 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 5-star quality point. Obtained 1 chaos-type creature soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. Killed Bai Ling, level 22 elite. Captured 1,570 aura points. Obtained 1 stage 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 5-star quality point. Obtained 1 chaos-type creature soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. A golden light flashed. With 1 slash, Lu Chen leveled up. Chapter 128. The experience required to level up from level 19 to level 20 had increased to 1 million, and it would increase by 500,000 for every subsequent level. Lu Chen had spent almost a week to complete the 3,500 Nightmare Elves quest and only reached level 21. However, after this wave, Lu Chen reached level 22 with a flash of golden light. Even after the Nightmare Elves had all fallen, Lu Chen's system notifications were still spamming, "Fuck, this is too good." Lu Chen was shocked himself. With the Great Ravager Sweep, known as the most difficult leveling game in history, Lu Chen felt like he was playing a game. "No, I'm not done yet. I want a few more waves." Nameless Bro had disappeared for a week. After focusing on the Tiger King's cave, stopping Hua Xia, and the Korean server's Misty Forest incident, the Asia server finally stopped. Especially the players from the Hua Xia server, they were all busy leveling up and getting equipment. The experience gained from the Tiger King's cave also allowed the players to experience the joy of leveling up. Among them, Thunderbolt relied on the solid skills of the members and the strong support behind them to maintain the standard of a first-rate team. Today, they were trying to clear the Tiger King's cave in 10 minutes to lure out the third hidden boss. The leader, Thunderbolt Storm, was nervously making the final strategic arrangements. The ones participating in this dungeon were the leaders of 5 teams, 3 men and 2 women. Storm, Lord of Heaven, Mu Hua, Chiu Feng, and Siyu were all level 19. Storm was holding the Tiger Sob while the other 4 were holding the Dark Metal Sword. Storm and Lord of Heaven had 3 pieces of the Tiger King set while the other 3 had 2 pieces of the Tiger King set. This configuration was already the best configuration. The 10-minute charge this time is very important. No one can make any mistakes. Storm was making the final arrangements with the team members. This time, the team's charge at the third hidden boss was broadcasted live, so Thunderbolt Storm was also a little nervous. Lord of Heaven and I will each pull one path directly to the boss room. Mu Hua, Chiu Feng, and Siyu will pull the middle path 20 seconds after we set off. Then, at the position we determined earlier, Chiu Feng, Siyu, you two take your pets and don't attack. Mu Hua, you keep using the fragment cannon. Lord of Heaven and I will use the myriad sword technique to clear the monsters quickly. Got it, boss. Yes. Have you brought enough damage increasing potions and defensive enhancing potions? Yes. 9 gates, get the Talisman Matrix Master to buff the Golden Bell Talisman and enter the dungeon immediately. The 5 Talisman Formation Masters buffed the 5 of them, and the Thunderclap squad finally set off. To be able to become the team leader of Thunderclap, these 5 players all had top-notch skills. They had succeeded in the early stages in one go. With the 5 of them pulling the monster at the same time, they would definitely be faster than Lu Chen running alone. In 2.5 minutes, they had already finished pulling the monster and blocking its path. All that was left was to deal damage with all they had. Mu Hua was an explosive specialist. Not only did Shard Explosion have a continuous burning effect, but it also had a splash effect that dealt high damage. Storm and Heaven Monarch were both sword spirit cultivators. After learning the myriad sword art, their damage had been further increased. After 6.5 minutes, most of the mobs had been cleared. There were only 3 bosses left. Many players were watching the live stream. If Thunderclap can clear all the mobs in 6 minutes, then they'll have a chance this time. Yeah, TT took 7 minutes to clear the mobs last time. That time, they almost reached 10 minutes. Their equipment is similar to TT's. They've also added all the buffs they can. However, TT used 3 sword spirit cultivators, and they added an explosive specialist. Those potions and talismans cost a lot of money. This dungeon is burning money. How can Tiger Weep compare with that bit of money? Speaking of which, there aren't many players who play Explosive Specialist. Actually, the continuous buffs from Explosive Specialist are very strong. Let's go, let's go. If someone can clear the 3rd hidden boss, then the price of Tiger Weep will drop. Time ticked by, and as the 10 minutes got closer and closer, everyone began to feel nervous. At 9 minutes and 53 seconds, the 5 of them killed the last boss, Golden Blade Tiger, and successfully cleared the dungeon. At this moment, the 5 of them hugged each other excitedly and celebrated. Oh yeah, we cleared it. 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Ha ha ha, we did it. We did it. We can also farm Tiger Weep in the future. I told you we were strong. I told you, we cleared it. 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Ha ha ha, we might be able to break the Nameless record. If they could clear the 3rd boss, the team's equipment would be upgraded again, and the dropped purple materials would increase their profession level. Then, the time taken would definitely be shortened. The Nameless record was 9 minutes and 32 seconds. The difference was only 11 seconds. Soon, the news of Thunder Guild clearing the 3rd hidden boss caused a huge uproar in the Chinese server. Thunder Guild's reputation soared. No one knew how many missions they could take now. Their successful experience became the template for clearing the Tiger King's cave. All the big guilds fought to imitate them. Huaxia players' learning ability was indeed strong. On the same day, there were guilds that followed Thunder Guild's configuration and method and cleared the Tiger King's cave in 10 minutes. Games were like that. Once someone cleared it, it meant that the Tiger King's cave was no longer difficult. More and more teams started to challenge the Tiger King's cave. The equipment, levels, and materials also increased. The next morning, Thunder Guild set a new record and raised the time taken to 9 minutes and 34 seconds. They were only 2 seconds away from the Nameless record. That night, TT Guild released news that they only took 9 minutes and 29 seconds to clear the normal stage of the Tiger King's cave, setting a new record for the entire server. The Huaxia server continued to set new records for the Tiger King's cave. Meanwhile, Daehan, Daewa, and other servers were not to be outdone. 9 minutes and 25 seconds, 9 minutes and 20 seconds, 9 minutes and 18 seconds. The records were set again and again. Nameless record was already far behind. In the wave of clearing the Tiger King's cave, the players' levels were also increasing rapidly. There were even people who had crossed the EXP gap and reached level 20. At the same time, Jotian released another big piece of news. Some players found a level 20 dungeon in a small cave northwest of the mass grave, underground mine. The Tiger King's cave was no longer difficult for the top players. Next, people started to challenge the underground mine. The underground mine was very narrow, but the monsters were quite dense. It was more difficult to clear the dungeon. However, the Tiger King's cave made the players more confident. With the equipment and profession levels in the Tiger King's cave, many guilds cleared the underground mine quickly. A level 20 dungeon was naturally more profitable than a level 15 dungeon. The large amount of EXP gained once again increased the players' leveling speed. A few new equipment with excellent attributes began to surface. Considering that there might be a hidden boss in the underground mine, the players were still working hard to increase the dungeon's clearing time. Currently, they had increased the clearing time to under 25 minutes. In Little Ming's live streaming channel, the popularity had dropped by 80 to 90%. People were watching Little Ming's live stream of the royal clan clearing the underground mine. Speaking of which, Little Ming, you haven't seen Nameless recently. As soon as Nameless was mentioned, the live streaming channel immediately became lively. Nameless? I almost forgot about him. I haven't heard anything about him recently. Could it be that he quit the game? Impossible. Jotian's influence has surpassed the game now. There are more and more people playing it. I don't think so. Being good in the early stages doesn't mean you can be good all the time. However, Nameless is considered a success. He became famous and earned money. It's worth it. A real man doesn't boast about his past achievements. It's a game after all. If you were lucky and encountered some opportunities, you could be good. However, look at the trading channel now. Chapter 129. In order to increase their popularity, live streaming was the most common method used by the major guilds. As one of the stronger professional teams in the country, the Friendship Guild naturally used live streaming to promote themselves. 3 days ago, they had already broken the records set by the anonymous player in the Celestial Mountain Twin Towers. The Friendship Guild had once again taken back the honor of being first in the Twin Towers. Not only that, but in just 3 days, they had pulled up the Twin Towers record by a large margin. The Celestial Towers record was maintained at the 7th floor. The Demon Subduing Towers record had been broken to the 3rd floor. This result was considered quite good in the country, but in view of Nameless' unfathomable strength, at first, everyone did not dare to lower their guard and continued to strive for higher levels. In today's live stream, Brother Tao had directly rushed to the 8th floor of the Celestial Tower, causing quite a stir in the country. The 8th floor. Brother Tao is still strong. Actually, Friendship Guild is very strong. In the previous games, when you saw Friendship Guild, you had to take a detour. Isn't that nonsense? Of course Brother Tao is strong. In the past, he was even the Asian champion of WOV's individual competition. It's just that he was suppressed by Nameless in the past, making people forget Brother Tao's true strength. In my opinion, Brother Tao might be stronger than Nameless. Nameless relied on the mythical beast, while Brother Tao relied on his true strength. That's not important. Didn't you see it in the live stream? From the 6th floor onwards, the wild monsters already have spiritual attack. The spiritual attack of the wild monsters on the 8th floor is even more terrifying. Nameless' physical defense is useless no matter how high it is. The Friendship Guild's live stream also attracted the attention of a large number of guilds. Everyone knew that the level 30 main cities would once again merge into one region. The bosses who were currently dominating the various regions would finally come together and start a new competition. Only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win 100 battles. Brother Tao's technique is indeed excellent. There are almost no mistakes in his positioning. His reaction is also very fast. For many attacks, he moved to the edge of the attack range under extreme conditions and avoided the damage. This is the strength of a professional player. This Brother Tao, after being suppressed so badly by Nameless for so long, could actually make a comeback. He's a character. After Brother Tao's solo performance, there was still the Friendship Guild's Tower Challenge. Friendship, equipment, and levels were no longer the same as before. Moreover, after the class split, the advantages of pro players were even more obvious. With perfect coordination, they managed to rush to the 4th floor and lasted for 1 minute and 38 seconds. Although they did not manage to reach the 5th floor, the strongest floor in the Asia server, they had undoubtedly entered the top ranks. After coming out of the demon subduing tower, the friendly team members could finally hold their heads high. When they saw that the Frenzied Wave Guild was organizing a tower raid, they could not help but burst into laughter. Look, the original number 1 is here. TSK, TSK, TSK. There are quite a lot of people in Wild Waves now. That's right. He even has a divine beast. He will definitely be able to easily take back the throne of first place. Of course, these words were sarcastic. Everyone in District 122 knew that there was no nameless Mad Waves. It was just a guild made up of a bunch of random players. Friendship was on a completely different level. In reality, Kuang Lang could only reach the 2nd level of the Devil Subduing Tower now. That's right, where are your divine beasts? Other people's divine beasts are divine beasts. Why did they turn into dogs in your hands? Forget it, you guys don't need to raise them. We'll help you raise them. Ing Jun looked at these people coldly and snorted, if you guys want the divine beasts so much, why don't you come and snatch them? I don't need to say it. Everyone knows what you guys are afraid of. When Brother Tao heard this, his face instantly turned gloomy. Afraid? Kid, do you think we're afraid? I have already passed the 8th floor of the Celestial Execution Tower. Do you guys think I'll be afraid? Leng Noa raised her hand and stopped the group members who were about to speak. It was best not to argue with the friendly team now. At least your team leader knows his place. You guys are just a bunch of mobs. The Red High Heels said coldly, I don't want to argue with you guys. If you guys have the ability, that's your problem. If you guys get first place, you guys can just take the rewards in the future. We don't want to compete with anyone. Brother Tao sized up the Red High Heels. Many people knew about this woman's identity now. She was a newbie in film and television. She seemed to have fallen out with the company after just one film and went out to pursue her dreams. Of course, the result was self-evident. Not many people knew about her. However, it was undeniable that this woman was getting more and more beautiful. Moreover, she wasn't a brainless woman. Nameless didn't care about the guild. Under her leadership, Wild Waves actually developed quite well. Many newbies who entered the Celestial Mountain main city were willing to apply for this guild. Their total number of members had already surpassed many professional guilds. Moreover, there were more than 20 players in Wild Waves. Although they weren't professional players, they were very strong. They were definitely folk experts. Nameless aside, this guild actually had a certain level of strength. Of course, Nameless was a big reason why the guild could develop so well. Nameless brought prestige to Wild Waves and made them famous. As for this potential opponent, they definitely couldn't let it continue to develop like this. Since the legend of Nameless had fallen, it was time for the newbies to understand who was the boss of this area. Brother Tao walked up and stood in front of the Red High Heels. He raised his chin slightly and looked down at this woman. Red, I'm very unhappy with your attitude. What do you want? Very simple. Let's have a duel. At this point, the people of Wild Waves were instantly enraged. What do you mean? You, a professional player, want to duel with us amateur players? Handsome pushed Brother Tao away and stood in front of the Red High Heels. Brother Tao smiled slightly. What? You don't dare. I'm the leader, you're the leader too. Isn't this very fair? The people of friendship immediately began to discuss loudly. What profession? We're all humans. We're all playing the same game. Many players put in as much time as we do. Why are they worse than us? Isn't Wild Waves the #1 guild in this area? The guild leader doesn't dare to accept the duel. If even the guild leader is so cowardly, then are you Wild Waves a bunch of cowards? The red high heels expression was uncertain. The people of friendship finally couldn't hold it in anymore. She wasn't afraid of a duel, nor was she afraid of losing. However, she was now representing the entire Wild Waves. Wild Waves. Wild Waves my ass. Change your name to Fierce Cowards. A bunch of cowards. Trash will always be trash. They'll be in the limelight for a while, but in the end, they'll still show their true colors. Just like Nameless. The surrounding voices were incessant. Just as the red high heels took a step forward, Handsome stopped her. Leader, let me do it. He has Tiger Sob, 2 blue equipment from the underground mine, and Tiger King has 3. We have too little room to maneuver. Brother Tao's ears were very sharp. He immediately said, who do you think you are? I'm going to duel with your leader. Red, I'm asking you, do you dare to accept? Sister Noah, don't go. 10 steps away, Flower Fragrance pulled Leng Noah back. Leng Noah shook her head, I have to go. If I lose, I'll give up my position as the vice leader. Handsome, you have to lead everyone to level up in the future. Don't look down on those normal players. Noah Noah. Leng Noah ignored the others and accepted Brother Tao's duel request. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.